Chapter 1275, Imperial Sword's Determination, it's Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, thought the crowd. An incredibly terrifying sword qi was emerging from the sky-absorbing picture scroll, while it seemed like it was going to cut the scroll in half. The sword was furious. "Stop!" shouted Qi Yun furiously. Inside the sky-absorbing picture scroll, the enlightenment marks were intertwining and shining even more vigorously. Those marks enveloped Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword released dazzling and aggressive energies, lacerating everything in its path. It also released empty space energy, so now the enlightenment marks couldn't resist it. Bzzz. Inside the sky-absorbing picture scroll, the enlightenment marks became golden as a pair of eyes appeared. Emperor Qi. Lin Feng was astonished. Those eyes were Emperor Qi's eyes. The sky-absorbing picture scroll was Emperor Qi's imperial weapon, but he had lent it to Qi Yun to steal treasures. Since Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword was damaging it, it awoke the Emperor's intent. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, let's see how strong you are. Terrifyingly sharp empty space enlightenment energies emerged from the Emperor's eyes and moved towards Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. They acted like vines tying up Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. CRRR, Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword whistled furiously as it became even larger. Qi Yun looked surprised. He hadn't thought that the Emperor's intent would awaken. If it hadn't, the sky-absorbing picture scroll would have broken apart already. Now, Lin Feng was certainly going to die. The Emperor's intent released more energies as it looked down at the sword and said, "Even if you're Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, you have to be respectful." Then, terrifying intent appeared in the enlightenment marks inside the sword and dazzling energies surrounded Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. "Is that so?" said a voice inside the empty space. The eyes from the Emperor's intent looked surprised. "Who's that?" shouted Emperor Qi furiously. But then, sword lights emerged and moved straight towards his eyes. "Stop!" shouted Emperor Qi furiously. Boom! Those sword lights struck the pair of eyes and broke them, then the empty space enlightenment marks broke as well. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword whistled and struck the empty space. Explosions sounded as a black hole appeared in the air. The sky-absorbing picture scroll, an imperial weapon, is broken. People were astonished. An incredible sword qi then dashed to the skies. Lin Feng and the strong cultivators from Jianghe appeared. That voice. It had destroyed the Emperor's intent, that was the intent of Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. Ancestor. Jian Mu and the others were astonished. They looked at the gigantic sword in the sky with respect. That was their ancestor's intent, so maybe their ancestor was still alive. Is that really Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword? Thought Lin Feng. The sword swallowed sword qi and turned to Qi Yun. Qi Yun's face turned deathly pale. He was doomed. He wanted to steal Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, but he hadn't thought the sky-absorbing picture scroll would break. Now, could he stop Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword? "Let's go," said someone else. The strong cultivators from Tianlong Divine Castle wanted to escape as well. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword streaked across the sky. Qi Yun jumped, trying to use his empty space agility technique to escape, but it was useless. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword chased him and tore apart his empty space, then it lacerated his body and Qi Yun was dead. Lin Feng followed the sword and at the same time he shouted, "Kill the members from the Qi clan." "Roger, young master," said the strong cultivators from Jianghe. They turned into sharp swords and chased the cultivators from the Qi clan. Blood splashed as all of the strong cultivators were being killed. Imperial weapons and Peerless holy weapons had all broken apart, even Qi Yun had died. A Zun cultivator had gone to Lin Feng's clan to kill them, but other than that, the situation didn't look good for the Qi clan. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, after killing Qi Yun, flew back into Lin Feng's body. Just like Lin Feng had said, he hadn't used up his second chance. Lin Feng grabbed Qi Yun's ring and put it in his own ring. A cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer probably had incredible treasures. Very quickly, all the Zun cultivators from the Qi clan were killed. Without a cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer, they couldn't compete with Jianmu and the others. "Let's go to Yangzhou City," said Lin Feng. Some members from the Qi clan, including Qi Tiansu, then headed over to Yangzhou City. Even though there were 2 cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer and 2 powerful groups already in the palace, Lin Feng was still worried. With Jianmu and the others, they could move even faster. Sword fusion. Everybody nodded and turned into whistling swords. Then, they became one gigantic sword which streaked across the sky. Even though Jiang fell a long time ago, Emperor Wu Tianjian's descendants are still very strong, thought the crowd, sighing. "Young master, come on," said the whistling sword appearing in front of Lin Feng. Lin Feng jumped on the sword and they all disappeared. "Maybe, Lin Feng has received Emperor Wu Tianjian's teachings," thought the remaining crowd. Lin Feng had risen way too fast. At the time of his battle against Shui Baiyao, not too many people knew him. After Fortune City, he had then fought many people and amazed the entire province. Besides, Lin Feng's sword techniques were powerful and he could control Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. Jiang's people even respected and obeyed him. The only possibility was that he had received Emperor Wu Tianjian's teachings, otherwise, there was no explanation. At that moment, in Yangzhou City, Qi Tiansu and another cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer arrived in Yangzhou City. "Die!" shouted Qi Tiansu furiously. He immediately punched the air in the direction of the palace. His punch hit the palace, making it shake and even killing some people. "Activate the deployment spell," shouted someone furiously. At the same time, Sword Qi shot up into the sky and someone shouted, "Who dares?" 2 sharp swords rose up in the air, 2 Zun cultivators. "There are some cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer here," thought Qi Tiansu. Lin Feng was farsighted. "Uncle, take out the other Peerless holy weapon, the empty space chains. Let's kill all of them while tying up his family members. Then we'll see if Lin Feng will release my sister or not," said Qi Tiansu. Chapter 1276, Ba Huang's Turmoil. Qi Tiansu's third uncle nodded and took out some gigantic golden chains. "Die!" shouted Qi Tiansu's third uncle furiously. The millions of golden chains instantly surrounded everybody. Sword assassin. Jian Ling Kong and Jian Ling Shao attacked too. 2 sharp swords moved towards Qi Tiansu and his third uncle. "Stop!" The 2 cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer couldn't see anyone, they could only see those chains. "Lacerate!" metallic ringing sounds wailed. The 2 cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer looked upset. The chains were too solid, their sword Qi couldn't cut them. A single chain attack wasn't very powerful alone, but there were millions of them. The chains continued emitting metallic ringing sounds as they activated the deployment spell, but it soon broke under the chains. "Uncle, don't kill them, capture them," Qi Tiansu reminded him. "Qi Tiansu, you want to die," said someone in the distance. Then, they saw a gigantic sword arriving. Qi Tiansu's third uncle was surprised, he recalled the chains and had them attack the gigantic sword instead. Lin Feng rose up in the air as the gigantic sword clashed with those from the Qi clan. Boom! A terrifying collision sounded as the chains couldn't stop the sword Qi anymore. So many strong cultivators from Jiang'a had turned into one sword and thus, one attack. The chains shook as they surrounded the gigantic sword again. The cultivator then used his empty space agility technique to create some distance between them. Slash! But Sword Qi quickly streaked across the sky and moved towards him. His face turned deathly pale. Lacerate! The gigantic sword moved towards Qi Tiansu's third uncle again. 3 cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer from Jiang'a also moved towards him. Each sword attack contained terrifying sword Qi. Even if a cultivator had a strong physical body, they would find it difficult to block such an attack. What happened to Qi Yun? What about the sky-absorbing picture scroll? How had Lin Feng escaped from them? Qi Tiansu knew that the sky-absorbing picture scroll contained the Emperor's intent, so there shouldn't have been a reason to lose. The chains couldn't block the sword Qi. Two cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer, from Jianga, fused together to create another large sword. Break! Shouted the cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer from the Qi clan. He released broken space punches in a desperate attempt to fend them off. Disperse! The gigantic sword dispersed and the strong cultivators from Jianga reappeared while releasing even more sword Qi. No! The sword lacerated the cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer from the Qi clan. Blood splashed and he was dead. Jian Mu then grabbed the chains. Qi Tiansu's face turned deathly pale. His uncle, a high-level Zun cultivator, was dead. He couldn't escape anymore. Lin Feng! Shouted Qi Tiansu, glaring at Lin Feng. Do you still want to kill my family? Asked Lin Feng. If he had arrived a second too late, the entire palace would have been crushed. The three heroes of the Qi clan. So what? Die, yelled Lin Feng. Lacerate. Jian Ling Kong and Jian Ling Shao released their own sword Qi. Qi Tiansu's face turned deathly pale as he used his empty space agility technique. He jumped into an empty space and reappeared somewhere else, but the cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer from Jianga were too fast. The two cultivators quickly surrounded Qi Tiansu again and two sword lights moved towards him. Boom boom boom, explosions sounded and a silhouette appeared a few meters away. Lin Feng was astonished. Qi Tiansu had managed to escape. Young master, he has an emperor's memory imprint, said Jian Mu to Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded. Amongst the three heroes from the Qi clan, Qi Tiansu and Qi Tiansheng were the strongest ones. They had all been on the list of the 10 strongest young cultivators of Ba Huang, so they had the potential to become emperors. But Lin Feng had killed Qi Tiansheng and Qi Tiansu was the last one the Qi clan had left, so they couldn't afford losing him as well. Little Feng, shouted Lin Hai, rising up in the air. When Lin Hai saw that Lin Feng was safe and sound, he calmed down a little. He had seen his son fly up into the 9 dark clouds in the sky, so he feared the worst. Dad, don't worry, I'm fine, said Lin Feng smiling at his father. Lin Feng was more concerned about those emperors than himself, but what Lin Feng didn't know was that the emperors who had gone back to Ba Huang province were injured by the demonic energies which had and still were corroding their bodies, especially Emperor Peng whose soul had been injured. He wanted to settle the score with Emperor Lei and the Great Ape Emperor because in his opinion, they hadn't helped enough. Because of what had happened in Shuiyu, the Ba Huang province wasn't calm anymore. There were wars occurring everywhere. Plus with the conflicts between the Qi clan, Tianlong Divine Castle, the Sunset Pavilion and Tiantai, the people from the Ba Huang province knew the future held many troubled waters. Shuiyu was only the emperor's first battlefield. Chapter 1277, Dragon's Vein in Tiantai. In the sky above of the sky, two people were sitting in wooden chairs, enjoying the calmness and tranquility around them. The situation in Ba Huang province is becoming more and more chaotic. That's a good thing for us, said one of them smiling calmly to the other. That old man was Emperor Yu. You shouldn't be gloating over people's misfortune. Do you think Tiantai could really take over the entire province alone? Asked Emperor Yu laughing. Tianlong Divine Castle, the Sunset Pavilion, the Imperial Assassin Union, they're all quite strong themselves. And we weren't in Shuiyu this time, so getting involved won't be easy, said the person next to Emperor Yu smiling. Don't forget that the meeting of the emperors is going to take place soon. Besides, the only geniuses who are rising are Tiantai's, Ho Qinglin, Ruo Xia, Qi Er, Lin Feng, Qiu Yu Xian, Lin Feng's wife, Meng Qing. Those people all have the potential to become emperors. Even though the other powerful groups aren't as strong as us, they also have many geniuses. We also don't know all of their powerful and talented cultivators, some of them might have not shown themselves yet. For example, there might be some geniuses who broke through to the Zun Qi layer just before the event in Fortune City started, so they didn't go. Indeed, maybe there are some incredible cultivators that we don't know about it, but I'm sure that they'll show themselves soon enough. Besides, isn't Tiantai the same? The two people glanced at each other and laughed. An incredible era was starting in the Ba Huang province. What had happened in Shuiyu had only accelerated the process. From now on, the Ba Huang province would be a battlefield. While those two people were talking and relaxing, many Tian and Zun level cultivators wanted to use the Tian Su teleportation portal to go to the two small worlds. Both probably had incredible treasures, after all. The influential imperial groups weren't the only ones who dispatched people. The other influential groups from the small worlds of Ba Huang also dispatched their people. Even if they didn't get any treasures, seeing Empress Shi and the Netherworld Demon Emperor's small worlds would be a great opportunity. The Wen clan was facing the entire province now that everybody wanted to use the Tian Su teleportation portal. The Wen clan couldn't turn it off anymore because if they did, they'd have even more enemies. Shuiyu's people were growing accustomed to it. They had seen the Netherworld Demon Emperor, they had heard the 9 Netherworlds demonic song, what could be more frightening than those things? Lin Feng was at the periphery of Yangzhou City. He didn't need to go to the Yunhai mountain range anymore because the Netherworld Demon Emperor's small world had already reached the edge of Yangzhou City. It was surrounding Empress Shi's small world even. Young master, maybe it's a good thing for Shuiyu. From now on, we will become stronger and richer thanks to those two small worlds, said Jianmu to Lin Feng when he saw him looking pensive. He understood what Lin Feng was thinking. Lin Feng remained silent and smiled, you're right, it's a good thing for Shuiyu, I am just not open-minded enough. It's as if I hoped that Shuiyu would stay a small and peaceful country forever, but is that what they want? There's no need to follow me anymore. If I need you, I'll break the sword talisman again, said Lin Feng. Then, he left. Jianmu and the others didn't refute Lin Feng's words. Their young master was their ancestor's sword, they weren't so worried about him. In any case of real danger, their ancestor's sword could appear and fight. Lin Feng went to the small world, but changed his face and Qi beforehand. Tianlong Divine Castle and the Qi clan were after him, so doing normal things while being hunted wasn't convenient. But, he could come out as Black Mage once in a while too. Lin Feng walked in the Netherworld Demon Emperor's small world. Nobody paid any special attention to him. He had just broken through to the 8th Tian Qi layer, so in that small world, he was considered rather weak. Of course, even though there were many strong cultivators in there, the small world was so big that there was enough space for everyone. Even while glancing around, it was difficult to see anyone. Zun cultivators were sometimes running alone in the sky and then descended to rob things from weaker people. A corpse. Lin Feng arrived in a mountain range in the Netherworld Demon Emperor's small world. There was a pitch-black decaying qi emanating from a demonic-like mountain. Lin Feng came across a corpse there. It was in a sitting position, its bones were black. Not just one. Lin Feng was surprised to see several corpses. Maybe those people were the Netherworld Demon Emperor's disciples. That black mountain was probably the place where they used to practice cultivation. Many people are looking for treasures here, thought Lin Feng. There were more than a few silhouettes in the surroundings, including a girl in blue clothes. Her cultivation level was low though, she had only broken through to the 5th Tian Qi layer. She sensed that Lin Feng was looking at her, so she turned around. Lin Feng smiled back at her. Suddenly, Lin Feng was astonished because he realized he knew that girl. Surprisingly, she was one of the 10 strongest young cultivators from the Dragon Mountain Empire, Qing Meng Xian. Mister, why do you look at a young girl like me? Said Qing Meng Xian smiling when she saw that Lin Feng was smiling at her. Mister. Lin Feng laughed. Back in the days, Qing Meng Xian and Lin Feng were good friends. They had even participated in the great competition of Shuiyu together, but now she was calling him Mister. Qing Meng Xian and you were both from Dragon Mountain. I wonder if Dragon Mountain has news about you, thought Lin Feng. He said, seeing a little girl looking for treasures in dead bodies, that's a bit unusual. Mister, even though your cultivation level is higher than mine, you don't seem that old. Why are you calling me little girl, said Qing Meng Xian. Besides, mister, you probably know what's going on here. There are many strong cultivators here, so cultivators like us can only stay aside to hunt treasures because our cultivation level is too low. Lin Feng walked towards Qing Meng Xian and said, is that so? She smiled and said, well, you probably have noticed it too, right? Noticed what? Lin Feng was being funny on purpose. He didn't think she'd know anything. Mister, I'm thinking that the demon emperor who appeared might be practicing cultivation in the mountain range, said Qing Meng Xian. Why? Asked Lin Feng. Come with me, mister, said Qing Meng Xian rising up in the air. Lin Feng followed her. Mister, look over there in the horizon, but don't look at the white world, look at the blackness, said Qing Meng Xian pointing at a distant place. Lin Feng had only looked at the Netherworld Demon Emperor's small world, he didn't look at Empress Shi's small world. He then realized that there was a kind of black demonic dragon in the distance which had Empress Shi's small world in its arms. Mister, isn't that a dragon's vein? Asked Qing Meng Xian smiling. Lin Feng smiled wryly. There were so many strong cultivators there, Lin Feng wouldn't have thought that a weak cultivator like Qing Meng Xian would discover something incredible like a dragon's vein. Chapter 1278, Eternal Battle. Since it's a dragon vein, there must be an incredible qi there, whispered Lin Feng. There were more corpses in that direction. The dragon's head is there, said Qing Meng Xian pointing at the horizon. The gigantic dragon's head was not far from its tail since it was surrounding Empress Shi's small world. What a strange small world. Small worlds are always a bit strange anyways, thought Lin Feng. He started walking towards the border between the two small worlds. Lin Feng saw something which looked like gigantic dragon's teeth and it was breathing. Lin Feng arrived near the mouth and looked inside. It was black inside and it contained a terrifying demonic qi. Maybe the demon emperor really is practicing cultivation here. It's just that when people come here, they're too afraid that the demonic qi could corrode their bodies, said Lin Feng. Qing Meng Xian smiled wryly and said, I can go in. I'm too weak. I'm going inside, said Lin Feng. Then he entered the dragon mouth. The mouth was deep. Lin Feng walked for a while before arriving in a huge flatland filled with demonic energies. It's a demon land, thought Lin Feng. That area vast, and even though it was dark, he could see everything clearly. Every inch was filled with demonic energies. His godly awareness couldn't even inspect it all because there was too much. A real demon emperor's cave, thought Lin Feng. There were many lofty trees which were precious treasures for anyone who practiced demonic cultivation. Those were demon Bodhi trees. Like back then in Death Valley, next to the Three Lives Demon Emperor, but the Three Lives Demon Emperor had been sealed. This here is a genuine cultivation place for a demonic emperor. Each demon Bodhi tree has a terrifying strength and contains incredible demonic energies. It's like just looking at those trees is enough turn you into a demon, thought Lin Feng. I'm taking those Bodhi trees and Bodhi fruits. Lin Feng then stored them away in his ring. Many people were hunting treasures, other people would take those if he didn't. Very quickly, he took all of them and only one last tree was left and it was gigantic. It was impossible to see the top of that tree from the ground. There were gigantic Bodhi fruits on it even. That Bodhi tree alone could make a sect go insane, thought Lin Feng. He walked forwards and it felt like he was going to suffocate under its pressure. That qi seemed like it was going to swallow him. At that moment, Lin Feng sensed a strength which prevented him from moving forwards, as if he had entered a forbidden area. Lin Feng released his own demonic energies into his hands. With them, he managed to break the energies which prevented him from moving forwards. Then he continued walking. What's that? Lin Feng frowned. At the foot of the tree were two silhouettes. They weren't releasing any chi, but their demonic energies made Lin Feng gulp down. The Netherworld Demon Emperor. Lin Feng approached the tree and realized that one of the people sitting below the tree was the Netherworld Demon Emperor, the one who had sung the song. The Netherworld Demon Emperor is still there, then who's the other person? The Netherworld Demon Emperor's enemy, thought Lin Feng. Someone was facing the Netherworld Demon Emperor while sitting cross-legged. It was another demon cultivator, but he looked rather calm. Actually, neither of them looked scared. Who is that demon cultivator who dares face the Netherworld Demon Emperor, thought Lin Feng. Was it the demon-sealing Great Emperor who could control demon emperors? Bzzz. A terrifying chi gushed out and the two cultivators rose up in the air and moved aside. Demon Bodhi Tree. Lin Feng walked towards the Demon Bodhi Tree. He released a gigantic demon hand and grabbed the Demon Bodhi Tree. Rise, shouted Lin Feng furiously. The ground shook as terrifying demonic energy surrounded Lin Feng's body. How could he give up so easily? Lin Feng knew that the two silhouettes he had just seen weren't real, they were just apparitions, traces of leftover intent. Maybe it was an apparition of what had happened in the past. Rise, shouted Lin Feng bestially. The ground continued shaking before finally, he sensed that the tree was rising a little. Boom! A loud sound spread in the air as Lin Feng managed to raise the Demon Bodhi tree into the air. He put the tree in his ring and looked at the sky. Then he rose up in the air. He wanted to see who dared face the Netherworld Demon Emperor. Outside, Qing Mang Xian saw two demons come out, one of them was definitely the Netherworld Demon Emperor. Is he dead? Thought Qing Mang Xian when she saw the demons. However, someone else came out. Qing Mang Xian then shouted, Mr. Lin Feng smiled at her and nodded, then he gazed into the horizon. The two demons were still staring at each other, their demonic robes fluttering in the wind. Elsewhere in the small world, many people noticed that, so they came closer. The Netherworld Demon Emperor was back. That's battle intent, thought many people gasping with amazement. Two people had fought here and after such a long time, their battle energies hadn't dispersed. Who's that? Wondered some people when they saw the person facing the Netherworld Demon Emperor. His chi isn't any weaker than the Netherworld Demon Emperor's chi. What are their cultivation levels? Lin Feng looked at the two silhouettes in the sky, his own demonic chi kept rolling in waves, as if he couldn't control his demonic chi anymore. Qing Mang Xian was surprised and moved backwards. Lin Feng had only broken through to the 8th Tian Chi layer and could still stand there, how strong. Even some Zun cultivators couldn't handle those energies. But Lin Feng didn't pay attention to anyone else. Eternally the best emperor, Demon Emperor's real body, said a voice which resonated in people's heads. Chapter 1279, The Demogorgon Seriatim Symphony, Dead Body Curse, The Demon Emperor. Each time Lin Feng heard that name, it made him shiver. Back in the Jade Emperor's palace, the Jade Emperor had made statues for 3 emperors and a great emperor which contained some of their intent. However, the Jade Emperor had relied on his own intent to make those statues, so the intent the statues possessed were not genuine. Eternal Demon Emperor, he had amazed the entire continent. Some people landed there and looked at the demons, which gradually became blurred. Black clouds appeared, the Netherworld Demon Emperor seemed to be singing his 9 Netherworlds demonic song which then turned into the 9 Netherworlds water and moved towards the Demon Emperor. The 9 Netherworlds water quickly turned into a lake, however, demons appeared around the Demon Emperor. 18 demon generals, the crowd recognized what they were. What terrifying creatures! Who could resist such a demonic army? The Demogorgon Seriatim Symphony. The cultivators at the top of the Zun Chi layer were even shaking. That was the legendary Demogorgon Seriatim Symphony, another one of the 9 demonic songs. The Demogorgon Seriatim Symphony enables cultivators to invoke demon generals to fight on their side. The 9 songs might be forbidden songs, but they are very powerful. The Nine Netherworlds demonic song is used to control people, while the Demogorgon Seriatim symphony is used to invoke demons, said a cultivator of the top of the Zun Chi layer. The Demon Emperor also controls one of the 9 songs, whispered Lin Feng. The apparition in the sky slowly dispersed and vanished. Lin Feng was disappointed. It was an apparition from the past, so it had to vanish at some point. But still, he wanted to see the battle between the Netherworld Demon Emperor and the Demon Emperor. Everybody else looked disappointed, Lin Feng wasn't the only one. But then their disappointment was replaced by excitement as they looked at the nest of devils. They came out from there, the crowd quickly ran over to the dark cave. Lin Feng knew that people would find that place at some point. Luckily, he had taken all the Bodhi trees already. Are you going in too? Asked Lin Feng when he saw that Qing Meng Xian was following the other cultivators. Yes, other people are leading the way, so it can't be that dangerous inside, said Qing Meng Xian smiling. Lin Feng smiled back. Sometimes, people had simplistic views, but it was also a logical conclusion. Is there a problem, mister? Asked Qing Meng Xian looking naive. He was wondering how Lan Jiao was doing. Nothing, let's go, said Lin Feng entering the cave again. The crowd continued walking forwards. Some people released their godly awareness, but couldn't see everything because of the size of the cave. There's a demon palace hall, said someone. A demonic palace hall soon appeared in their fields of vision. There was a praying mat with a silhouette on it, the Netherworld Demon Emperor's silhouette. It was an apparition as well. Another apparition, thought the crowd. They couldn't imagine what it was like to be a great emperor. Boom! A demonic light moved straight into someone's brain. That person instantly became petrified, their body turned pitch black and they turned into a statue. Ah, a horrible shriek spread in the air. Someone else was being corroded by the demonic lights, his chi was turning demonic. He couldn't control it, finally the demon chi filled his body and he exploded. Arg! Someone shouted who turned around and ran away. That person hadn't even made it a few steps inside the palace hall. His facial expression sudden looked ice cold as he had turned into a demonic slave. Die! Shouted that person as then he threw himself at people outside the palace hall. Some people joined hands to attack and kill him. Lin Feng and Qing Meng Xian arrived too, but they stayed behind the crowd. The people in front of them were almost all Zun cultivators. Those demonic lights are so scary, said Qing Meng Xian. Someone heard Qing Meng Xian and looked at her in a cold way. Tap tap. Qing Meng Xian moved back as if she had realized something. Come here, said a Zun cultivator to Qing Meng Xian. Mister, how may I help you? Asked Qing Meng Xian, petrified with fear. Get your ass over here, said that person while releasing qi which surrounded Qing Meng Xian's body. Qing Meng Xian's face turned deathly pale, that person probably wanted to kill her. Lin Feng stepped in front of her and Qing Meng Xian suddenly felt much safer. If you want to go in, just go in yourself. There's no need to try and push other people inside, said Lin Feng indifferently. The cultivator smiled in a cold way. A cultivator of the 8th Tian Qi layer dares talk to a Zun cultivator that way, get the hell over here too. Boom! Lin Feng stepped forwards and released cursing energies. Cursing strength, that person was shocked for a moment. La la la, that person shook his hand as a thick and strong tree appeared and shot out towards Lin Feng. Wood type, that person must have a plant spirit. Lin Feng took out an amulet and placed it in the air in front of him. Curse, said Lin Feng in a deep voice. In a flash, qi surrounded the tree and began corroding it. Amulet cursing technique. Come back, said Lin Feng. The tree turned around and moved towards its owner, who now looked surprised. You're just an ant trying to shake a tree, said that cultivator. He shook his hand and released energies, but in that place, it was difficult to release powerful attacks while fending off the demonic energies. But, it was probably sufficient to cripple a Tian-level cultivator's cultivation. Cursing spell, swallow. Cursing strength moved towards Lin Feng's enemy. The enemy's tree turned into dust and the enemy's face looked strange as the cursing strength was now corroding his body. Die, said Lin Feng. His soul was cursed now. He suddenly looked extremely old, his face turned deathly pale, he was wailing mournfully. Then, he collapsed. What a strange and enigmatic strength. Once cursed, they can barely fight anymore, thought Lin Feng. Even though that was a low-level Zun cultivator, his cultivation level was still higher than Lin Feng's. He's dead, thought the crowd, they were astonished and looking at Lin Feng in a strange way. Rise, said Lin Feng. Suddenly, that person's body rose up again. The crowd was surprised again, he was dead, but that wasn't enough for Lin Feng, he was going to curse his soul and spirit. According to the legends, strong cultivators who used black magic could make armies of the dead rise and fight on their side. It seems absolutely possible. Chapter 1280, More and more intense demon eyes, he can use dead spirits, thought the crowd. Two words came to mind when they looked at Lin Feng, black mage. Geniuses were rising and a black mage had even appeared. Besides, his cultivation level was high, but his fighting abilities were terrifying. He had only broken through to the 8th Tian Qi layer and could already defeat Zun cultivators. Qing Meng Xian was astonished. Lin Feng had easily killed a Zun cultivator. Thank you, whispered Qing Meng Xian. If Lin Feng hadn't been there, she would have died. Lin Feng nodded and said to her, using telepathy, don't get close to those people, just stay away and observe. The dead Zun cultivator slowly walked into the palace hall and everybody was watching him. Not bad, we don't need to risk our lives anymore, thought the crowd. Many people had thought of trying to force someone to go in, a weaker cultivator, but since the black mage was there, they didn't need to do that anymore. He didn't get attacked, thought the crowd, staring at the dead body. What a terrifying demonic intent, thought Lin Feng. The dead body raised his head and looked at the walls. There were many patterns and all those drawings were of the Netherworld Demon Emperor. However, each picture contained a different intent. If I didn't use the dead body, I wouldn't be able to handle such a terrifying demonic intent, even though I practice demonic skills myself, thought Lin Feng. His eyes had become dark, it was as if demonic intent was starting to consume him. The Netherworld Demon Emperor's intent is carved into those walls, they died because they couldn't handle his intent. So once inside, it's best not to look at the patterns and also not to use your godly awareness to inspect the room, said Lin Feng calmly when he saw that everybody was staring at him. If we don't use our eyes to study them and if we don't study the energies, how do we go in at all, whispered many people. However, at that moment, a strong cultivator entered the palace hall. It was a strong Zun cultivator who had opened his eyes, but was only looking in front of him. He had also completely blocked his godly awareness. The black mage is right, I'm fine, then crowd followed him inside the palace hall and did the same. Mister, are you not going in? Asked Qing Meng Xian to Lin Feng. My cultivation level is too low, I don't dare, said Lin Feng smiling. Even if he stayed at the entrance of the room, it would be the same as practicing inside the room. Inside the palace hall, the dead body was observing one pattern in particular and Lin Feng was using the eyes of that dead body to study the patterns. In his brain, in his pitch-black eyes, a demon appeared who was releasing incredible energies. Boom! Qing Meng Xian looked at those demonic eyes and shivered. She moved back and closed her eyes, she didn't dare look at Lin Feng's eyes again. How terrifying, thought Qing Meng Xian. In Dragon Mountain, she was like a frog in a well. She was amongst some of the most outstanding young cultivators from the empire, she couldn't even look them in the eyes. Lin Feng already had a thread of the Netherworld Demon Emperor's soul in him. He had the feeling two demons were fighting in his eyes, his previous intent was slowly being absorbed by a new one, which was then becoming his own demon intent. Lin Feng's celestial book spirit opened itself automatically. Lin Feng sat down cross-legged and appeared in his desolate world, enlightenment marks appeared and energies flowed inside. Two sorts of qi started fighting, his demonic energies kept rolling and changing. Finally, they slowly fused together. Outside of his spirit, his real body was also surrounded by demonic energies, and his demonic skills were changing automatically. Many of the remaining Zune cultivators moved away from him, just in case. I couldn't understand a small part of it, but I did learn 2 threads of demonic intent, thought Lin Feng. The dead body Lin Feng was using raised his head and looked at a second demon emperor's pattern. Lin Feng could sense the terrifying demonic intent penetrate into his mind. Then it would start fighting against the other sorts of demonic intent he already had. More people were showing up as even more people died from curiosity. Those who had gone in first weren't going to warn them because they didn't want to share any treasures with the others. Of course, there was the silhouette of the Netherworld Demon Emperor as well. Some people tried to study it, but they immediately died. Lin Feng was happy to have the dead body to study several demonic patterns. Time passed slowly, some people gave up and left, but the dead body was still there. In the palace hall, a Zune cultivator lost patience and looked at the dead body Lin Feng was controlling. When he saw that the dead body could look at the patterns on the wall, he became angry and slapped it on the head. The dead body slowly turned around and looked at that Zune cultivator. His eyes were filled with demonic energies. Ah, that Zune cultivator gave a horrible shriek. Those energies had blinded him, so no, he was frantic. At the same time, Lin Feng, who was still outside of the palace hall, released black demonic energies which invaded the room. Die, said Lin Feng. The dead body put his hands on that person's head and crushed his skull. At the same time, Lin Feng released even more demonic qi into the room. Many people looked at him and started shaking, terrified. Even those who were a lot stronger than Lin Feng couldn't look at his eyes. Demonic eyes. Chapter 1281, A Demoniac Concerto. Not only is he an incredible black mage, but he's also an incredible demon cultivator, thought the Zune cultivators. Lin Feng raised his head and looked at the walls. He directly looked at some of the demonic patterns, and then demonic intent penetrated into his eyes. At the same time, Lin Feng's demonic eyes released dazzling black lights which collided with the demon intent. Now, he could look at them with his own eyes without being injured. However, Lin Feng was still a bit cautious because he knew just how powerful they were. His demonic eyes twinkled as he looked at more of the walls. Then turned around and looked at the Netherworld Demon Emperor's silhouette. He walked towards him and sat down cross-legged next to him. He sat down facing the Netherworld Demon Emperor and released his own demonic qi. He stared at him and studied the Demon Emperor's intent. What an incredible guy, he's using the Netherworld Demon Emperor's intent to study demon cultivation. The Netherworld Demon Emperor's intent was incredibly powerful and aggressive. Those people weren't demon cultivators, so they couldn't understand demon intent. If they directly tried to understand any of it, they could get hurt. Lin Feng's robe was fluttering from the wailing energies, and so did his long black hair. The demonic intent in his pitch-black eyes were getting even more intense. Around his body, the demonic intent had turned into a vortex. Someday, he'll be an incredible demon king, thought the crowd. They were also wondering, was he a high-level disciple of the Devamara Palace? The Devamara Palace was a mysterious influential imperial group in the sanguinary part of Ba Huang. Even the Abyss of Sufferings couldn't deal with the Devamara Palace, proving how powerful they were. However, it was extremely rare to see Devamara Palace's disciples come out. Many people didn't even know how strong their younger disciples were. Considering his way of practicing cultivation, that young man could only be from the Devamara Palace. He even knew the sorcerer's arts. At that moment, the palace shook slightly. The demon palace, the palace was shaking more and more. Bzzz. At that moment, the myriad of Demon Emperor's patterns on the walls started shining brightly. Demon intent started flooding the room. The crowd didn't look at them, but they could still sense how terrifying the energies were. Boom! The terrifying demon intent turned into a statue and penetrated into the Demon Emperor's silhouette, making him become more distinct. Boom, 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 the demon palace continued shaking and the demon statue became even more dazzling. The demon emperor's silhouette now contained millions of different sorts of intent which were making him appear more distinct, as if his real body had started appearing. His hair was pitch black and fluttering with the energies. Fusion. A long time ago, the demon emperor had turned into many threads of demonic intent, and now his different types of intent were fusing together and turning back into the demon emperor's body. Get him! The crowd suddenly burst into an uproar. That was a real physical body, maybe it was the demon emperor. If so, then it probably contained a demon great emperor's intent and memories. A cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer jumped forwards and raised his hands, wanting to grab the body. Steal it! Everybody started running towards the demon emperor's body, but at that moment, all the hands stopped. Some of their hands turned black, corroded by the demonic energies. Ah! Someone gave a horrible shriek. They got too close to the demon emperor, so their body turned black from head to foot. Then, he turned into a demon. 9 Netherworld's demonic song, the crowd recognized the technique. Then, they heard the song and realized that the sound waves were moving towards them. He can create music even though he's dead, thought the crowd. Many people ran backwards and put their hands over their ears. However, they couldn't prevent the sound waves from piercing through their eardrums and resonating in their brains. The 9 Netherworld's demonic song is a demon melody which allows the user to control people. Even though that demon emperor is dead, his physical body still wants to control us cultivators. That thread of consciousness he left must have been created while he practiced the 9 Netherworld's demonic song. No, someone else was corroded by the demonic sound waves. He turned into a demon and stopped moving, like lifeless body or a zombie. That song is too terrifying. A cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer was also slowly turning into a black body. We can only give up, thought the cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer. He looked terribly unhappy as he turned around and left the palace hall. If he stayed in there any longer, he'd end up like the others, a demon slave. When that cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer left, he glanced at Lin Feng, who was still sitting there cross-legged. Demon energies were emanating from his body, so he was wondering if he was turning into a demon or not. What he didn't know was that the 9 Netherworld's demonic song he had heard wasn't solo, it was an orchestra. Lin Feng was facing the Netherworld Demon Emperor as the celestial water from the 9 Netherworlds appeared in his pitch-black eyes. The 9 Netherworld's demonic song continued resonating in the air, fusing with the sound waves. A thread of demonic consciousness, a real body, a concerto of demonic songs. Lin Feng couldn't sing the 9 Netherworld's demonic song, he had learned it a short time before, but he hadn't really tried to learn or practice it yet. However, he had the intent from the Demon Emperor in his body and he was using it to face the energies of the song and absorb them. Those songs in unison seemed to be teaching him how to sing the 9 Netherworld's demonic song. The sound waves invaded the entire cave, all the people who hadn't left all turned into demons, their bodies turned black and their strength turned into demon intent. Lin Feng was surrounded by demonic qi as a demon silhouette appeared behind him. Lin Feng's qi rose up in the air and fused together with the energies from the songs. A demon body. Lin Feng suddenly opened his eyes and a light out from his eyes into the Demon Emperor's eyes. The Demon Emperor's demonic lights which surging from his eyes also collided with Lin Feng's. They seemed to be fusing together, and at the same time, they were surrounded by the energies from the demonic songs. Demonic qi emerged from Lin Feng's body and rolled in waves. The strength of his qi had changed too, it was now at the 9th Tian qi layer. Chapter 1282, Demon Determination Rising to the Skies, the 9 Netherworld are resonating in unison. The source of the 9 Netherworlds had appeared in Lin Feng's pitch-black pupils. He smiled in a resplendent way. Rise, said Lin Feng. In a flash, the demon body slowly stood up, its demonic intent was rising to the skies, its pitch-black pupils looked ice-cold, and he looked emotionless. 9 Netherworld's energies, you're mine, thought Lin Feng smiling with satisfaction. He turned around and looked at the strong cultivators surrounded by demonic energies. The 9 netherworlds' demonic song had taken control of their bodies. "Kneel down," said Lin Feng. His voice resonated in the room as all the demon slaves knelt down. "Stand up," said Lin Feng, glancing at them. Not only could he use the energies from the demon songs, but he could also control those who had turned into demon slaves. Everybody stood up after his command. Imperial scriptures are incredible. Even though I only have the strength of the 9th Tian Qi layer, those energies completely purified my demonic strength. I can now pollute low-level Zun cultivators' pure Qi. I can also use even more powerful skills now, thought Lin Feng. Now, even if he used his Cosmos Burning Sun technique, which came from Tian-level scriptures, it would never be as powerful as his demonic intent. My Cosmos Burning Sun technique is not powerful enough. I need to find some scriptures to replace it, thought Lin Feng. Lin Feng glanced around. Apart from the marks and the demonic patterns, that place had nothing of interest. That was just a place where the Netherworld Demon Emperor came to practice cultivation. The Netherworld Demon Emperor wouldn't bring his treasures to that room. Lin Feng was probably right, that the Netherworld Demon Emperor and Empress She had their treasures with them, or maybe on Empress She's body, which the Netherworld Demon Emperor had taken with him when he left. There were some other marks inside the palace hall, but they weren't useful for Lin Feng because he couldn't understand them. To understand all the marks written by great emperors, he had to at least have the strength of a cultivation emperor. Boom, boom, boom. At that moment, the demon palace shook violently, as if a mountain was collapsing. Lin Feng raised his head. "They couldn't stay in here, so they want to destroy the palace," whispered Lin Feng. Those people who had left were attacking the palace. Since they couldn't defeat Lin Feng and since they couldn't do anything interesting in the palace, they wanted to destroy it while Lin Feng was still inside. Lin Feng raised his hands and broke a gigantic piece of wall which was falling above his head. The demon palace was already starting to collapse. Boom! Terrifying explosions sounded and Lin Feng could sense the terrifyingly oppressive energies all around him. Then, he saw a silhouette enter the palace hall. It was Qing Meng Xian. Why hadn't she left already? "Come here," said Lin Feng to Qing Meng Xian. Her silhouette flickered and she arrived next to Lin Feng. Lin Feng controlled the demon slaves around them to hold up the walls of the hall. Lin Feng turned around and looked at the thread of consciousness left by Netherworld Demon Emperor, then he shouted, "Come in." The Emperor's thread of consciousness turned into a light which penetrated into Lin Feng's godly awareness. Boom, boom, boom. Finally, the hall collapsed. Lin Feng could already see many people above him, a bunch of Zun cultivators. Many of them had been in the demon palace before and had left upset. "Are you dead or alive?" shouted the crowd when they saw the demon slaves in the middle of the ruins. The 9 netherworlds' demonic song had influenced so many people and it had killed just as many. "Are you blind?" asked Lin Feng, glancing at those people. "How conceited. You think that because you killed a few low-level Zun cultivators, you're stronger than everyone else? What treasure did you find that made you break through to the 9th Tian Qi layer?" said that cultivator. He was a cultivator of the 4th Zun Qi layer. "The Netherworld Demon Emperor's imperial treasures, if you want them, come and get them," said Lin Feng, releasing terrifying demonic intent. His demonic energies also contained cursing energies. "You're acting recklessly. Since it's that way, you'll have to die," said that cultivator. He turned into a whirlwind and descended from the sky towards Lin Feng. His grey whirlwind turned into a gigantic blade which moved towards Lin Feng. He was using wind abstruse energies and his wind abstruse energies were level 4. "Die," said Lin Feng. His demonic chi rose to the skies, his eyes were pitch black, ice cold, filled with murder. Then, he threw himself at the enemy. The opponent was surprised. Lin Feng's demonic energies had corroded his fighting determination. "Wind wounds, lacerate," shouted that cultivator furiously. Sharp winds moved towards Lin Feng, lacerating the space around them on their way. Qing Meng Xian raised her head, she looked terrified. "Kacha!" The ground cracked. It was difficult to look at his attacks, however, Lin Feng wasn't affected. He dodged the attack which then landed a few millimeters away from him. At the same time, the cultivator of the fourth Zun Qi layer also landed in front of Lin Feng. "Can you take my life?" asked Lin Feng, jumping towards him. Demonic lights emerged from his eyes. His opponent was caught off guard. Lin Feng's demonic intent was affecting his determination. It seemed to be losing his sight. However, even though he could barely stand it, he didn't close his eyes. Blood dripped from his eyes from the struggle. "Curse," said Lin Feng. The ground shook as more cracks appeared. Cursing energies emerged from his eyes and fused together with his enemy's soul. "Kneel down," shouted Lin Feng furiously. He could sense that his enemy's soul was affected and that he was going to kneel down. "No," shouted the cultivator furiously. Surprisingly, a cultivator of the Tian Qi layer was making him kneel down. "Kneel down," shouted Lin Feng again. That Zun cultivator started trembling. He didn't feel like fighting anymore. Even a cultivator of the fourth Zun Qi layer couldn't resist Lin Feng's cursing and demonic energies together. "Die," said Lin Feng. He stopped playing with his opponent. His demonic and cursing energies were strong, but he couldn't completely control a cultivator of the fourth Zun Qi layer. He could damage their determination. Lin Feng punched his opponent square in the face. A cultivator of the ninth Tian Qi layer could easily destroy a cultivator of the fourth Zun Qi layer. There's a new beast in the Ba Huang province. With the strength of the Tian Qi layer, he can defeat Zun cultivators. He could probably be considered one of the 10 strongest young cultivators in the Ba Huang province. A black mage has appeared in this small world. Imagine if he fought against Lin Feng, who would be stronger, thought many people. Even though Lin Feng knew some demonic spells, he didn't have those demonic eyes. Besides, Lin Feng was a sword cultivator. That cultivator used magic and demon intent. Chapter 1283, Demon Flute. He's also a cultivator of the Tian Qi layer and surprisingly, he's infinitely stronger than me, thought Qing Meng Xian. When she first met him, she didn't think he would be that strong. She didn't even consider it possible. She had thought that Lin Feng would only be slightly stronger than her, but now she understood that there was a huge difference between them. At that moment, the silhouettes of the dead bodies around Lin Feng flickered. Hadn't those people turned into demon slaves because of the Netherworld Demon Emperor's song? How come they were now safe and sound? Lin Feng proudly glanced at the crowd and pulled Qing Meng Xian aside. He didn't say anything. He had already proved that he was strong enough to be there. He had managed to kill a cultivator of the fourth Zun Qi layer easily, but maybe he could also defeat cultivators of the fifth Zun Qi layer. Therefore, nobody wanted to gamble by trying to attack him. Black mages were very mysterious cultivators. They were a symbol of power. Nobody knew who Lin Feng really was, but with his terrifying powers, he could definitely be a cultivator from the Devamara Palace or maybe the descendant of a powerful, mysterious and secret Peerless cultivator. "Let's destroy the Netherworld Demon Emperor's cultivation room and see if there are any treasures," said someone. They descended from the sky and landed on the ruins. Everything was dust and stones now. They saw no treasures. "It can't be, there cannot only be a thread of consciousness left by the Netherworld Demon Emperor," said someone. "Maybe I should have done the same as Jun Mo Shi and the Tang Yu Yu and the others. Maybe I should have gone abroad," thought Qing Meng Xian. She was starting to regret her decision to stay. Maybe she would see Lin Feng, Jun Mo Shi and the others again someday. "Let's attack at the same time," said a cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer. Then they all rose up in the air together, condensing energies. "Listen to me, when I say attack, we attack at the same time," said the cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer. A sun appeared in his hand and flames appeared around his body. "Attack!" shouted that cultivator. A gigantic sun rose up in the air and fell down on the demon palace. Slash, slash, the sun chi cleansed the area, burning away everything. When the effects from the attack settled, all the ruins had disappeared. There's something the crowd yelled. Deep in the pit, there was a black flute covered with dust. It looked like junk at first. Boom, a terrifying absorbing strength sword and the flute rose up in the air, towards someone. Show it to me, shouted a cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer, furiously jumping forwards. He landed in front of the one who had taken the black flute and released fire energies. Slash, a sharp wind surrounded the black flute and made it fly away. The fire had burnt the hand of the one who had tried to take it. How shameless, shouted the cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer. He jumped forwards and released more fire. The one who had tried to take the flute before was sad, actually, his face had turned deathly pale. He didn't dare fight against that strong cultivator. The fire cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer didn't have time to pay attention to them anymore. He continued flying towards the black flute, but a gigantic hand appeared in the sky and attempted to grab the flute. Move away, shouted an aggressive voice. The gigantic hand collided with the fire hand that Zun cultivator had created. The energies created by the collision made the flute fly even farther away. Slash, the black flute fell down far off in the distance. The crowd was staring at it and at Lin Feng, who took 2 steps towards it. The flute had appeared in front of him. If someone dares touch it, I'll kill them, shouted the strong cultivator who had attacked the fire hand a moment before. He was also a cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer. People appeared behind him. The leader was a young man wearing a long robe and had a bestial look. The Netherworld Demon Emperor's jade flute, whispered the young man, staring at Lin Feng. Bzzz. Someone continued running towards the flute, but at that moment, he realized he wasn't the only one running at it. Dull and stupid, do you want to die? The cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer shook his hand and terrifying marks appeared. The other cultivator gave a horrible shriek, then his body exploded and he died. Holy marks were imbued in that attack, the crowd was astonished. That cultivator could use holy marks to attack. I'm interested in that jade flute, said the young man running towards the flute. The other people said nothing. That was a strong cultivator from the Si Kong clan, a Zun cultivator. The young man was one of the 10 strongest young cultivators from Ba Huang, Si Kong Shao. Lin Feng looked at Si Kong Shao and lowered his head, looking at the jade flute. His eyes were filled with demonic energies when suddenly the flute shook. It was as if the flute had been calling him, the music resonated in Lin Feng's heart, the 9 Netherworld's demonic song. Demon flute, that was probably the Netherworld Demon Emperor's flute, thought Lin Feng. From the conversation Yan Di and the Netherworld Demon Emperor had, Lin Feng understood that the Netherworld Demon Emperor was the only one who knew the 9 Netherworld's demonic song. Lin Feng crouched down, everybody watched him. Si Kong Shao looked at him aggressively and said, try and touch it. See what happens. Lin Feng stopped moving, for only a second. Then, he continued stretching out his hand, slowly towards the demon flute. Then he took it. The flute was calling Lin Feng. As Lin Feng took it, an ice-cold qi surrounded him. Chapter 1284, I-Technique. Si Kong clan wasn't the only one surprised, everybody was. They all looked at him in a strange way. If Si Kong clan had been alone, the crowd wouldn't have been surprised. After all, that cultivator probably wasn't any weaker than the 10 strongest young cultivators of Ba Huang. However, some strong cultivators from the Si Kong clan were with him. Offending Si Kong Shao was the same as offending the Si Kong clan. Lin Feng turned his head around and looked at Si Kong Shao. Then, he immediately put the flute in his ring. In that entire palace, there was only one flute. The crowd didn't know that Lin Feng had also obtained some kind of special energy. However, even if there was only one item, it belonged to the Netherworld Demon Emperor and his item couldn't be useless. Give it to me, said Si Kong Shao. His eyes slowly became strange and bestial. Strange energies were revolving inside his eyes. The celestial vision, the Si Kong clan's celestial vision, the crowd recognized them. The Sikong clan's blood spirit was a pair of eyes. However, only 3 people possessed the celestial vision, apart from the Emperor Sikong. Sikong Shao was one of them, and he had the exact same celestial eyes and vision as the Emperor. The crowd became even more excited when they saw that Sikong Shao was using his celestial vision. His opponent was a black mage of the 9th Tianqi layer who also had a demon vision ability. Even though they didn't really understand what kind of technique that was, they had seen what he did to a cultivator of the 4th Zunqi layer with it. Maybe, it was one of the strongest ocular techniques of the continent. Celestial vision. Lin Feng had the feeling his eyes were going to be damaged if he looked at Sikong Zhao's eyes. Lin Feng's eyes turned pitch black and ice cold as demonic intent emerged from them. Break! Sikong Zhao's voice resonated in Lin Feng's brain. It was as if Sikong Zhao and Lin Feng were alone in another world. Lin Feng had released demonic intent with his eyes, but Sikong Zhao's eyes broke that apart. Die, said Lin Feng. His voice resonated in Sikong Zhao's heart. It was as if the demonic energies were corroding him from the inside out. Lights emerged from his celestial eyes. It was as if time had stopped. At least, time was passing a lot slower. Sikong Zhao's strength then broke the demon energies. That's the power of the celestial vision, thought Lin Feng. Not only could the celestial vision lacerate the sky, it could also see through things. Some people said that Sikong Zhao's abstruse energies were fission and speed abstruse energies. Lin Feng didn't know what kind of special body he had or the powers it granted him, but he enjoyed learning how to do things with his own strength. Interesting, said a voice in Lin Feng and Sikong Zhao's brains while laughing indifferently. They saw a 3rd, maybe a 4th pair of eyes, then a 5th. People were fixedly staring at them. Illusional eyes, Mu Fan Chen, shouted Sikong Zhao. Lin Feng's demonic vision and Sikong Zhao's celestial vision dispersed. Mu Fan Chen, from the magic world Heavenly Palace, was next to them, another one of the 10 strongest young cultivators. Illusion eyes, is that a type of spell? Whispered Lin Feng. That technique also involved using the eyes. Those people had already broken through to the Zunqi layer, so they could all defeat cultivators who were stronger than them. According to the diviner though, Qi Tiansheng and Bai Qiu Luo were the weakest ones amongst the 10 strongest young cultivators. I wouldn't have thought that someone would dare use an eye technique against Sikong Zhao, said Mu Fanchen looking at Lin Feng and smiling. You also want to try, said Sikong Zhao to Mu Fanchen. A layer of energy emerged from their eyes as they looked at each other. I saw the Demon Emperor's treasure too, so if you can try and steal it, then I can too, said Mu Fanchen smiling indifferently. However, at that moment, a girl laughed and another person arrived. Her eyes alone made people feel like kneeling down before her. Yiren lay from the heavens of Desire's palace. This is getting really interesting, thought the crowd. There were 3 incredible cultivators, Mu Fanchen, Yiren Lei etc. who had powerful families, and then the black mage whose social status was unknown. I like music, I would be so happy if I had that flute, said Yiren Lei smiling thinly. She was trying to seduce everyone for the flute. Even though I have a celestial qi, I could also use that flute, said Mu Fanchen. He was the most resistant to Yiren Lei's seduction spells. After all, he was also an illusion cultivator himself. Yiren Lei, if you accept to become my girlfriend, I'll be happy to steal the flute and give it to you as a gift, said Sikong clan smiling thinly. Master Sikong, you're the future of the Sikong clan. I don't think I deserve to be with someone as wonderful as you, said Yiren Lei smiling thinly. They were all laughing and smiling, but nobody was willing to give up the jade flute. Sikong Zhao's eyes twinkled, then he glanced at them and said, since it's that way, let's agree on something. Agree on what? Said Mu Fanchen smiling. Yiren Lei looked at him too. The 3 of us, let's join hands and the first one to kill him gets the jade flute, said Sikong Zhao pointing at Lin Feng. Even though 4 people wanted to get the flute, in Sikong Zhao's eyes, there were only 3. Even though Lin Feng's vision wasn't that bad, he had only broken through to the 9th Tianqi layer. Chapter 1285. Three beasts battle. The one who would kill Lin Feng first would get the jade flute. Those who weren't strong and didn't have a powerful background should die. Xikong Xiao didn't rely on his reputation as one of the 10 strongest young cultivators of Ba Huang to steal treasures. He also relied on the strong cultivators who were with him. He had even brought some cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer, who would dare oppose him. Mu Fan Chen and Yi Ren Lei were the same. They hadn't come alone either. They had also brought strong cultivators from the magic world, Heavenly Palace, and the Heavens of Desire's Palace. 3 powerful groups while Lin Feng was alone, and on top of that, he only had the strength of the Tian Qi layer. I agree, said Mu Fan Chen, smiling indifferently. Maybe it was the easiest way to solve the issue. That way, the people who were with them didn't need to be involved. Since you both agree, I have no choice. I agree too, said Yi Ren Lei, smiling at Lin Feng in a seducing way. She felt sorry for him, but she hoped Lin Feng wouldn't blame her. Lin Feng's eyes were filled with demonic energies. If Yi Ren Lei agreed with them, it meant they were going to attack now. Bzzz. An illusion appeared and Lin Feng thought he was in another world. He saw that he was stuck in a cage and that sword energies were moving towards him, towards his throat. That's the power of the illusional eyes. Suddenly, it was as if a demonic god appeared behind Lin Feng. It was pitch black, especially his eyes. The sword lights which were moving towards him immediately disappeared as if they had never existed. Slash! Another pair of eyes appeared in the illusion, the celestial vision. The atmosphere around Lin Feng became distorted. He suddenly felt like his body was being ripped apart. Those 4 people were in an illusion together. From outside, it looked like those 4 were just standing there, not moving at all. However, their eyes looked terrifying. Die! Shouted Xikong Xiao furiously. Deadly energies emerged from his eyes and moved towards Lin Feng. Using illusion techniques against someone who has demonic eyes is ridiculous, said Lin Feng. Then, demonic energies rolled in waves in front of him. Godly curse. Lin Feng was suddenly bathing in cursing strength. He wasn't trying to curse other people this time, he was cursing himself to come back to his senses. Bzzz. The illusion disappeared, leaving Mu Fan Chen surprised. Demonic eyes could break illusion spells. Another genius, said Yi Ren Lei, smiling in a resplendent way. She couldn't help but recall Lin Feng. This reminded her that she couldn't be arrogant on the path of cultivation. The 10 strongest young cultivators of Ba Huang would continue to see new and powerful opponents. Lin Feng's demonic vision granted him special powers that she didn't know about. He could destroy illusion spells and could prevent her from seducing him with her seduction spells. Boom! Lin Feng jumped forwards while he raising his fists. His demon fists were aimed at Yi Ren Lei and Mu Fan Chen at the same time while Lin Feng himself ran towards Xikong Xiao. You want to die, shouted Xikong Xiao. At the same time, he also jumped forwards, cutting everything in front of him down with his celestial vision. Lin Feng was fixedly staring at his eyes with his demonic eyes. The energies from the 9 netherworlds were visible in those demon eyes, so Xikong Xiao could feel his celestial vision being corroded. A thin black layer had appeared around his eyes. Die! Shouted Lin Feng furiously, his voice created sound waves ahead of him. It was as if 2 demons were staring down at him, the energies they emitted pierced through Xikong Xiao's eyes painfully. Break! Shouted Xikong Xiao furiously, closing his eyes. He landed in front of Lin Feng and punched the air in front of him. Body curse. Lin Feng's cursing and demonic energies intertwined. This time, he was cursing his own body while turning the demonic energies on himself, trying to create an indestructible body. Fission abstruse energies crashed onto Lin Feng, but it didn't affect him. Destructive curse. Lin Feng punched the air in Xikong Xiao's direction as well. Demonic qi rose to the skies as his punch contained a terrifying amount of demon qi and cursing abstruse energies. They glanced at each other. Lin Feng's cursing energies first spread through Xikong Xiao's body, making him feel weak. At the same time, terrifying empty space and demonic energy invaded Si Kong Xiao's arm. Boom boom boom, a terrifying collision occurred, both Lin Feng and Si Kong Xiao were thrown backwards. Lin Feng's arm was shaking, his fist was bleeding. Si Kong Xiao had used fission abstruse energies to break Lin Feng's spell, and his fission abstruse energies were already level 3. Even though Lin Feng had cast a cursing spell on himself, he had almost lost his arm. However, Si Kong Xiao wasn't feeling any better. His arm was hanging loose and his bones were crushed. His face turned deathly pale. What infuriated him the most though was that Lin Feng was relatively safe, he was just bleeding a little. Si Kong Xiao has been defeated, the crowd was surprised. Even while fighting 3 people at the same time, he had won the battle, forcing Si Kong Xiao to close his eyes. Yi Renlei and Mu Fanchen didn't take advantage of the situation to attack Lin Feng. He had already proven how strong he was by pushing Si Kong Xiao back with his punch. Even if they attacked Lin Feng, they couldn't defeat him. Si Kong Xiao, who's one of the 10 strongest young cultivators, isn't that strong after all, said Lin Feng smiling. He had made fun of Qi Tiansheng not so long before, and now a Tian-level cultivator was making fun of him, even injuring his celestial vision. Boom! People behind Si Kong Xiao released some of their own qi, but Si Kong Xiao shouted, "Stop!" Si Kong Xiao then rose up in the end and said, "Nobody can attack." Chapter 1286, Give It Back. Si Kong Xiao is furious, thought the crowd. He was one of the 10 strongest young cultivators and he was a descendant of the Si Kong clan. Now, a Tian-level cultivator had defeated him and humiliated him, he couldn't stand it. Mu Fanchen waved his hand as to indicate that he didn't want to attack. Actually, when Lin Feng released those 2 punches in Mu Fanchen and Yi Renlei's directions, they blocked the attack, but didn't continue fighting. They wanted to see how strong Lin Feng was. "Let's see how strong you really are," said Si Kong Xiao to Lin Feng. They had just fought for a few minutes before, so it didn't prove that he was any less than Lin Feng, but it proved that Lin Feng wasn't that weak. "You'll see," said Lin Feng, then he rose up in the air. "Where are you going?" Si Kong Xiao also rose up in the air. They weren't fighting yet, but Qi was already dashing to the skies. "Celestial vision, territory," said Si Kong Xiao. Everything in front of his eyes became strangely distorted. Territorial strength. Si Kong Xiao had immediately used territorial strength to fight, not underestimating Lin Feng at all. Lin Feng glanced at the empty space and slightly raised his hands. He found that he was moving slower in that space. Celestial vision territory, speed abstruse energies, sighed Lin Feng. It reminded him of what the diviner had told Si Kong Xiao in Fortune City, celestial eyes, you can definitely become an average emperor, even an upper emperor if you fight for it. Besides, Si Kong Xiao had been shot with a golden arrow. Considering the diviner's predictions, Si Kong Xiao was at the top of the list of the 10 strongest young cultivators of Ba Huang. The diviner's predictions for Si Kong Xiao were similar to those for Wen Tiangu. They both seemed stronger than Mu Fanchen. The diviner had said that Mu Fanchen would need to be extremely lucky if he wanted to become a high-level emperor. Lin Feng guessed the best cultivators from the list of the 10 strongest young cultivators were Kong Ming the Buddhist monk, Si Kong Xiao and Wen Tiangu. The diviner had also predicted that Mo Peng could become a medium-level emperor. But because of his temper, because he considered everybody and everything beneath him, he couldn't excel beyond that. Of course, Yi Renlei couldn't be underestimated either, she just had to change some things on her path of cultivation. "Die!" shouted Si Kong Xiao furiously. He moved with incredible speed towards Lin Feng and released fission abstruse energies. "Piss off!" shouted Lin Feng furiously, looking like a demon god. Empty space energies rolled in waves and at the same time, Lin Feng's fist hand reached Si Kong Xiao. Slash! Sharp lights emerged from Si Kong Xiao's celestial eyes, slowing the demonic hand. "Break!" shouted Si Kong Xiao, punching the demonic hand and breaking it. Si Kong Xiao continued running towards Lin Feng while releasing fission energies which seemingly became even more terrifying. Arg! Lin Feng roared like a demon. It was troublesome. Inside the celestial vision territory, he was too fast. Lin Feng also knew a demonic territory spell, but he didn't want to use it because he was scared that he would be recognized. After all, he had used that demonic territory attack against Qi Tiansheng and Shui Baiyao before. Si Kong Xiao, shouted Lin Feng furiously. Si Kong Xiao looked at him mistakenly, looking deep into Lin Feng's pitch-black pupils. Die, said Lin Feng. Demonic intent emerged from his eyes and drowned Si Kong Xiao, who was struggling to keep his vision. His eyes were sore and his celestial vision territory spell weakened. However, Si Kong Xiao groaned coldly and forced his blood to boil. I'll show you the real strength of the celestial vision, said Si Kong Xiao. He closed his eyes and then sounds were heard. Lights emerged from his body and came together to form two dazzling eyes. A pair of celestial eyes appeared above. Suddenly, Lin Feng had the sensation that the space was becoming even more chaotic. Celestial vision, spirit, the crowd was astonished. It's as if my legs and hands are tied up, it's really unpleasant, whispered Lin Feng. Then he smiled indifferently and took out the demonic flute. Take it, said Lin Feng throwing the demon flute at Si Kong Xiao. Si Kong Xiao continued staring at him and stopped attacking. Then he threw himself at the flute. Bzzz. Lin Feng turned into a blast of wind and disappeared. At the same time, many strong cultivators threw themselves at the flute. Strong cultivators from the Si Kong clan, the Magic World, Heavenly Palace, and the Heavens of Desire's Palace. Qing Meng Xian also escaped. She was feeling a bit sad because Lin Feng had already disappeared. He had left her an incredible impression, changing her vision on cultivation completely. She knew that Lin Feng had defeated Si Kong Xiao, but he couldn't take the flute because of those three powerful groups. The earth and sky seemed to be collapsing and sky raining blood. The battle was tragic, but in the air, it was still Si Kong Xiao who obtained the flute. He glanced at Yi Renlei and Mu Fanchen and said, let's not fight over the flute any longer. Mu Fanchen and Yi Renlei looked at the strong cultivators around them, the qi was overwhelming. There were many corpses on the ground already. Since you like it, you can have it, said Yi Renlei smiling. She didn't even know if it was that useful, but fighting Si Kong Xiao for it was pointless. Mu Fanchen glanced at Yi Renlei, smiled and also said, you can have it then, Si Kong Xiao, I won't take it. Alright, thank you, said Si Kong Xiao smiling indifferently. He put the flute in his ring and gazed into the distance. There were some dazzling swords approaching. Jiang's people. Si Kong Xiao frowned, Yi Renlei and Mu Fanchen also looked surprised. Was Jiang going to cause trouble? Terrifying sword energies whistled. The leader of the group was wearing a white robe, he looked confident and at ease, it was Lin Feng. Initially, Qing Meng Xian wanted to leave, but then she saw Lin Feng, she stopped. That was Lin Feng. Lin Feng, shouted Yi Renlei. Yi Renlei, I trust you have been doing well since we last met, said Lin Feng smiling. I'm alright, I missed you, said Yi Renlei smiling yet sounding a bit sad. Master Si Kong, I'm interested in the item you just obtained, give it to me, said Lin Feng indifferently. Everybody was astonished. The crowd suddenly looked excited again. Chapter 1287, Lin Feng vs Si Kong Xiao. Si Kong Xiao had forced the Black Mage to hand over the flute, and in the end, the Black Mage had given it to him. And finally, when the crowd thought that Si Kong Xiao would keep the flute for himself, Lin Feng arrived with Jiang's strongest cultivators. Lin Feng and the Black Mage were different, Lin Feng had come with strong cultivators from Jiang. Even without them, Lin Feng had already amazed people and possessed Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. Since emperors couldn't come to Shuiyu, with his social status in Shuiyu, Lin Feng was stronger than all those influential imperial groups. Lin Feng was standing in the sky and looking down at Xikong clan in a disdainful way. For the Xikong clan, the fact that Lin Feng was asking Xikong Xiao to hand over the flute was a humiliation. He's as incredible as the rumors say. He killed Qi Tiansheng and Bai Qiu Luo, now he's looking at Xikong Xiao in a disdainful way, thought many people who were looking at Lin Feng. Xikong Xiao raised his head and said indifferently, Lin Feng, the flute is now mine, don't you think asking me for it is a bit ridiculous? Surround him, said Lin Feng. In a flash, the strong cultivators from Jiang'a surrounded the Xikong clan and oppressed them with terrifying energies. The crowd was astonished. Lin Feng was even more aggressive than Xikong clan. How could they know that the Black Mage and Lin Feng were the same person? Lin Feng couldn't give up the flute, therefore, he had first fought Xikong Xiao as a Black Mage to see how strong Xikong Xiao was. You just stole the demon flute from someone else, since it's that way, I can also steal it from you. It's not an item which initially belonged to the Xikong clan, said Lin Feng calmly. He didn't sound arrogant at all, but he still gave that different impression to people. Therefore, you have 10 seconds, said Lin Feng smiling. If Xikong Xiao didn't hand over the demon flute, what would happen? Besides, no matter if the strong cultivators from Jiang'a attacked or not, if Lin Feng unsheathed Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, nobody would be left. Brother Lin, why act like that, said Xikong Xiao. It sounded so fake when he said, Brother Lin. 8 seconds, said Lin Feng still sounding nonchalant. You're not the only one who has an imperial weapon, said Xikong Xiao. 6 seconds, said Lin Feng. The crowd was impatient to see what would happen. Brother Lin, we are not at the end of our lives yet. In the future, we'll meet again, said Xikong Xiao. 3 seconds left, replied Lin Feng, this time releasing some qi. At the same time, the strong cultivators from Jiang'a also released some whistling sword qi. When Xikong Xiao saw that Lin Feng had ignored him again, he smiled indifferently and said, since you want it that much, I'll give it to you. 1 second, said Lin Feng. At the same time, Xikong Xiao threw the flute at Lin Feng. The flute turned into a sharp sword and as it flew at Lin Feng. Thank you very much, Master Xikong, said Lin Feng grabbing the flute indifferently and put it in his ring. Xikong Xiao is quite strong, thought Lin Feng. Xikong Xiao didn't look as angry as when he was facing the Black Mage, he also didn't release any qi. He remained calm because he knew how the cultivation world worked. When facing the Black Mage, he knew he could win thanks to his clan, but against Lin Feng, his group was weaker. I know that you're an incredible cultivator, you even defeated Long Teng from Tianlong Divine Castle and Qi Tiansheng from the Qi clan. I've always wanted to exchange views on cultivation with you, what do you think about exchanging a few attacks, asked Xikong Xiao. He had given Lin Feng the flute and now he was asking to exchange a few attacks. That would be an honor and a pleasure, said Lin Feng smiling. Even though no treasures were involved, seeing two incredible cultivators fight was always a pleasure. Thank you very much, Brother Lin, said Xikong Xiao. Then, he jumped forwards and released whistling qi towards Lin Feng. His qi was completely different. His celestial vision turned into a beam which distorted the space around it. Lin Feng smiled thinly and closed his eyes. He released threads of godly awareness. Even though his eyes were closed, he could still see the surroundings and wouldn't be affected by the celestial vision. Celestial vision, territory, shouted Xikong Xiao. A territory appeared and the space became even more distorted. Die, shouted Xikong Xiao raising his hands. Beams of light appeared and pierced through the territory. Lin Feng didn't look at it, he simply released sword and thunder energies in his hands. Boom! Xikong Xiao jumped forwards. He punched the air in Lin Feng's direction, causing rumbling sounds to be heard. Break, shouted Lin Feng. His sword streaked across the sky as he used his desolate Xana attack. Slow, said Xikong Xiao. The distorted space slowed Lin Feng's sword down and fission abstruse energies crashed onto the sword lights. Si Kong Zhao's fist was faster as it pierced through Lin Feng's sword lights. What an incredible attack, thought the crowd sighing. Lin Feng's sword lights faded and even dispersed as they colliding with Si Kong Zhao's fist. Demonic destruction territory, said Lin Feng. He suddenly opened his eyes and instantly lights emerged from them. He wanted to injure Si Kong Zhao's visual attack. At the same time, he released restrictive energies which surrounded Si Kong Zhao. Now, his fist could barely move forwards. Boom! Lin Feng jumped ahead while releasing demonic thunderous energies capable of blotting out the sky. Si Kong Zhao's facial expression changed drastically as he condensed some force to block the attack. Lacerate, said Lin Feng. Slow. Boom boom boom. A trail was left behind the sword chi. Si Kong Zhao's fist and the sword chi collided, the space around them became even more distorted. Si Kong Zhao was propelled back of a few thousand meters and his fist was bleeding. Chapter 1288, Tang Yuyu's news, demonic qi rising to the skies, an ever-conquering sword, Si Kong Zhao lost again, thought the crowd astonished. Si Kong Zhao was already very strong with his celestial vision, territorial attack, his fission and speed abstruse energies. If Lin Feng didn't have his demonic territory and his incredible demonic qi, he might have lost. Si Kong Zhao had lost twice that day, so now he was using his blood to recover. But the two battles were different. Si Kong Zhao wasn't afraid of the black mage, but against Lin Feng, he had to be very careful. Si Kong Zhao smiled at Lin Feng and said, "Brother Lin, you're an extraordinary cultivator. It's normal that Qi Tianxing lost against you. I'm off now." Then Si Kong Zhao left. He didn't look unhappy at all. At the meeting of the emperors, "We'll fight again, Brother Lin," said Si Kong Zhao from very far away. Lin Feng raised his head and looked at Si Kong Zhao in the horizon. He noticed that Si Kong Zhao had turned his head and that dazzling lights were flashing in his eyes. Lin Feng looked at him, he wasn't satisfied. His facial expression was the same as Si Kong Zhao, his eyes were filled with sharp lights. It was different from his battle against Qi Tiansheng. Lin Feng had now broken through to the 9th Tian Qi layer, and yet Si Kong Zhao still posed a threat to him. His fission and speed abstruse energies were scary. Besides, Lin Feng knew that Si Kong Zhao had other hidden skills that he would use only in case of a battle to death. "The meeting of the emperors?" whispered Lin Feng. He didn't know what the meeting of the emperors was. Would it attract all the emperors of Ba Huang? Mu Fanchen looked at Lin Feng in a deep and meaningful way. Then, his silhouette flickered and he left. Back in Fortune City, he hadn't paid too much attention to Lin Feng. He only started paying attention to Lin Feng when the diviner said that he wanted to recruit Lin Feng as a disciple. Then, after that, Lin Feng had continually amazed the province. "Prince Lin, you're amazing," said Yi Renlei smiling in a seducing way. "I really don't deserve so much praise, Yi Renlei," said Lin Feng smiling. Yi Renlei shook her head and said, "I remember when I tried to defeat you with a song, but it didn't work and now I'm too weak. Amongst the 10 strongest young cultivators, nobody can defeat you anymore," said Yi Renlei, not hiding the fact that she had tried to defeat him back then. "Yi Renlei, you're so gorgeous, if you continue flattering me, I'm going to lose my mind," said Lin Feng jokingly. Yi Renlei smiled and looked at Lin Feng, she even looked a bit shy. She then said in a gentle way, "If you think I'm that gorgeous, why not consider you and I getting together?" Kamadhatu, the 6 heavens of desire and passion. Lin Feng grinded his teeth and released demonic energies. "Are you trying to defeat me using your spell again?" said Lin Feng smiling wryly. "Why do you think it's not the truth?" said Yi Renlei smiling. Then, she smiled proudly and said, "All right, I'm off. If I continue to stay here, I'll just annoy you." Then Yi Renlei left and all the girls from the Heavens of Desire's palace followed her. She's so incredible, but why did she choose that kind of cultivation, whispered Lin Feng. If she continued on that path, she'd just become an ordinary cultivator. Lin Feng walked towards Qing Meng Xian and smiled in a gentle way, long time no see. Qing Meng Xian looked at him shyly. She was so happy to see him again, but she felt awkward too because he was so strong and she felt so weak. Long time no see, said Qing Meng Xian shyly yet smiling. Even though Lin Feng still seemed warm and friendly as before. She still remembered how terrifying and aggressive he was when he fought Si Kong Shao a moment before. How's Lan Jiao? Asked Lin Feng smiling. Qing Meng Xian looked at him in a strange way, then she smiled and said, if she knew that Lin Feng, who could now kill Zun cultivators, still remembered her, she'd be extremely happy. Back then, we were all together. Even if we didn't see each other a lot, I still remember everyone. No matter their cultivation level, my friends are my friends, said Lin Feng, raising his head and gazing into the distance. Maybe you can think that way, but I can't, especially when facing an extremely strong cultivator like you, said Qing Meng Xian smiling wryly. How are Jun Mo Shi and Tang Yu? Jun Mo Shi is alright, he's become the young master of the celestial palace of the immortals, and Yu I don't know, I still wonder, sighed Lin Feng. Young master of the celestial palace of the immortals. Qing Meng Xian was astonished. Jun Mo Shi had become the young master of a celestial palace and she still admired ordinary Zun cultivators. What's wrong with Yu? She was kidnapped and disappeared. I was wondering, did she appear in Dragon Mountain? Qing Meng Xian's eyes twinkled as she said, I know some things happened at the Tang clan recently, I don't know if they have any contact with her though. Really? Asked Lin Feng. Lin Feng knew he was overreacting. What happened at the Tangs? I'm not sure, it wasn't a long time ago. Then I heard that strong cultivators had appeared in Shuiyu, so I came and I was surprised when I saw all this, said Qing Meng Xian. Emperors, great emperors, she had never thought she'd ever see such terrifying cultivators. Maybe I should go back to Dragon Mountain when I'm done in Shuiyu, thought Lin Feng. Chapter 1289, 9 Netherworld's Demon Lotus. Lin Feng, you don't need to stay with me if you're busy, said Qing Meng Xian smiling at Lin Feng. She knew that Lin Feng and her were now different people. She thought that Lin Feng was talking to her because he remembered her from the past, but if he had ignored her, she would understand. Lin Feng looked at her and didn't say much. If you hear about her, come to Tiantai in Ba Huang province to find me, or go to the imperial palace of Yangzhou city. I will, said Qing Meng Xian nodding and smiling. She said goodbye and left. You can all go, said Lin Feng indifferently to the strong cultivators from Jiang'a. They turned into sharp swords and left again. They knew Lin Feng didn't like being followed. After they left, he turned into a black mage again and the demonic Zun cultivators began following him. Lin Feng found it more convenient to walk around as a black mage because everybody already knew him in the Ba Huang province, and the Qi clan and Tianlong Divine Castle didn't like him at all. Now that the demon palace had appeared, he probably wouldn't find that many treasures anywhere else. He already had the flute, so he still needed to find out what the flute could do. Disperse, said Lin Feng. All the Zun cultivators who followed him dispersed in the small world. Of course, if Lin Feng needed them again, he would be able to call them back. Boom, terrifying sounds came from the distance. Lin Feng glanced around and saw some gloomy clouds and some demon fire. Bzzz. Lin Feng turned into a beam of light as he moved in that direction. There's a treasure. Everybody assumed that the sudden fire must be indicative of treasures. The atmosphere was illuminated. Light beams appeared everywhere. Lin Feng realized that many people were coming, there were too many strong cultivators. I wonder what treasure has been found, it has definitely attracted many strong cultivators. There were 9 black lotus petals, but it wasn't a real lotus, it was a fire lotus. Nobody knew just how terrifying it was. Many Zun cultivators looked at it from far away. Even Zune cultivators couldn't approach because they feared it was too powerful. If I had the sky-absorbing picture scroll, I could get, thought a cultivator at the top of the Zune Qi layer. Qi Yun was stupid. Not only hadn't he managed to kill Lin Feng, but Lin Feng had also broken the sky-absorbing picture scroll, an imperial weapon. Why had the emperor given the sky-absorbing picture scroll to Qi Yun? Lin Feng glanced at them, but they couldn't know it was him. Lin Feng quickly looked elsewhere and saw a beast with red and dark hair whose hair was on fire. Had he released that fire? Lin Feng went over to Cheong Qi and asked him, using telepathy, "Emperor, did you release that fire?" Cheong Qi glanced around and looked at Lin Feng. He slightly opened his mouth showing his white fangs. "Little boy, you're better than me at hiding who you really are," said Cheong Qi using telepathy. Lin Feng had too many faces. "What's that black fire?" asked Lin Feng. "Bullshit, apart from me, who else could release a 9 netherworld's demonic fire?" said Cheong Qi raising his head. He looked proud and satisfied. Lin Feng almost burst into laughter when he looked at his hair again. The Netherworld Demon Emperor's fire, thought Lin Feng. Apart from the 3 live scriptures, he had been looking for something else. "How do you use it?" asked Lin Feng. "He ran away, so it's complicated now," said Cheong Qi annoyed. "He ran away? Could that fire run away on its own?" "Yes, that's the fire the Netherworld Demon Emperor used to control, the 9 Netherworld's Demon Lotus. It can come to life and turn into a Demon Lotus, but I almost got it before it ran away again. Even cultivators at the top of the Zune Qi layer can't get close, otherwise they'd burn. Imperial weapons are also useless. The members of the Qi clan are stupid. How could a sky-absorbing picture scroll absorb such a fire?" said Cheong Qi. "How scary," thought Lin Feng shivering. If cultivators at the top of the Zune Qi layer couldn't get near it and if imperial weapons were useless, then how was it possible to get that fire? "Since there's no hope, what are you doing here?" asked Lin Feng to Cheong Qi. "There's hope," said Cheong Qi. Chapter 1290, Yen Di and the Spirit, There's Hope. Lin Feng was surprised. "Lin Feng, let's talk about something," said Cheong Qi. He suddenly sounded really nice. "What?" said Lin Feng. "Apart from your 9-headed dragon spirit, you have another spirit, right?" asked Cheong Qi. His eyes were twinkling. "That bastard. Even Lin Feng's parents didn't know about that. Apart from the Netherworld Demon Emperor who had inspected his memories, nobody could know about it." "How did Cheong Qi know about that?" "As expected," said Cheong Qi looking at Lin Feng. "No wonder." Cheong Qi remembered what the Netherworld Demon Emperor had said, "If you feel like it someday, help me kill the 3 lives Demon Emperor." The 3 lives Great Emperor. How could the Netherworld Demon Emperor say such an incredible thing? He had lost to the 3 lives Great Emperor, so why would Lin Feng be able to kill him? Lin Feng looked at Cheong Qi wondering what he wanted. "What does it have to do with that spirit?" asked Lin Feng. "Of course it has something to do with it. Is there a depopulated place in your spirit?" "A kind of desert?" asked Cheong Qi. Lin Feng was shocked again. How could Cheong Qi know that much? His celestial book spirit did have a sort of desert. "I'm asking you what it has to do with my spirit?" asked Lin Feng again. How could Cheong Qi know so much? "Bastard, I'm your friend, I just want to help you get that fire," said Cheong Qi. "All right, reply to me." "I don't believe you," said Lin Feng nonchalantly. Cheong Qi looked at him angrily, but considering Lin Feng's reply, he thought he had guessed right. "So you really have that special body," whispered Cheong Qi. Even though he had guessed about it a long time before, he had never been sure. It was impossible to see that kind of special body. Only those who perfectly understood Lin Feng could know about it. Besides, how could the diviner know about it? Cheong Qi didn't believe everything the diviner said, but because he had observed everything Lin Feng did in Fortune Shrine, he had guessed about it. Cheong-chi now believed the predictions from the diviner. He had studied the celestial divination technique after all, but he didn't believe he was omniscient. Besides, he was already so strong and he knew everything there was to know about cultivation, so predicting people's futures couldn't be hard for him. If we manage to get the 9 netherworlds demon lotus, we'll be able to force everyone here to leave Shueyu. These 2 small worlds will become yours alone, said Cheong-chi. He remained silent for a few seconds and said, "What are the requirements?" "After you get the 9 netherworlds demon lotus, I need you to transform it for me and then, everything in those 2 small worlds will be yours." "What do you think?" asked Cheong-chi. His eyes were filled with the flames of ambition. Lin Feng looked at the fire. He was even more interested now. "Don't you want the 3 live scriptures?" asked Lin Feng. "I don't know if we can get them, but if you do find them, you can keep them," said Cheong-chi happily. He wanted that Devamara fire more than anything else. "Don't worry, I will protect you, and after I obtain the fire, I will even help you protect the small worlds with the fire." "Since emperors can't come here, who else will dare?" continued Yen Di. Lin Feng's eyes twinkled as he said, "Deal." "What do you want me to do?" asked Lin Feng. He didn't know how to use his spirit for that. "Don't you have Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword? Make everyone leave." "Piss off," said Lin Feng. Lin Feng only had 2 more uses. He didn't want to waste those opportunities. "You have to think of a solution yourself, otherwise I'll take back my word," said Lin Feng. Cheong-chi looked at him surprised and said, "You can't use it as many times as you wish?" "You're asking too much," replied Lin Feng. "I will regret it if we talk about it anymore." "You're not nice, but I'll attack myself then," said Cheong-chi. Then, he left. "The members from the Qi clan have empty space spirits, right? Why not try using them?" said a voice loudly. It was a cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer from the Wen clan. The Qi clan and the Wen clan were at war, so it made sense that they'd mock each other. The cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer from the Qi clan were furious. A cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer from the Qi clan jumped forwards and released energies. Golden empty spaces appeared around him and quickly, golden lights emerged from his body and turned into a blood spirit. His spirit was similar to Qi Tiansheng's, but more powerful. It was said that the sky-absorbing picture scroll had been created using Emperor Qi's spirit. "Go!" shouted the cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer. La la la, millions of threads of empty space energies descended from the sky as the cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer from the Qi clan descended. Bzzz, a terrifying black fire surrounded the golden lights. The Qi clan Zun cultivator's golden threads burnt immediately and then moved towards the Zun cultivator's spirit. It also burns empty space strength. What a terrifying fire. If he had used his spirit at first, it would have burnt in the blink of an eye, thought the crowd. The cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer from the Qi clan rose up in the air immediately. He moved as far away as he could from the fire, his face now deathly pale. He failed, his spirit is not strong enough, thought the crowd. Even cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer couldn't get close. At that moment, someone else moved forwards, wanting to try as well. A cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer from Fire Mountain. Emperor Yen was the strongest fire cultivator from the Ba Huang province. Could his cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer handle such a fire? The cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer jumped forwards and 9 sun patterns appeared. The suns began rotating above him. 9 suns, absorb, shouted the cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer loudly. The 9 suns rotated faster and faster, absorbing the demon fire Qi slowly while making the 9 suns become more dazzling. Can he really absorb it? Thought the crowd. Cheong-chi raised his head and looked at the cultivator in a disdainful way. That guy just overrated himself, he isn't strong enough. Cheong-chi jumped forwards and landed on the ground. Mark suddenly appeared and moved towards the 9 netherworlds demon lotus. In a flash, the 9 netherworlds demon lotus was surrounded and the flower opened itself. The 9 petals became larger and turned into 9 gigantic petals. Everybody moved even farther away. When the 9 suns collided with the lotus, they completely disappeared. The Fire Mountain cultivator's face turned deathly pale. He immediately rose up in the air and left. How terrifying, thought the crowd. After the 9 suns were destroyed, the petals calmed down again. Chapter 1291, Dark Type. It's impossible to take those 9 petals, thought the crowd. Even the cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer from Fire Mountain had failed. If the Qi clan still had their imperial weapon, they could have taken it, thought some people. Without imperial weapons, it was almost impossible to get that fire. What if we try to break the ground, suggested a cultivator. Everybody looked at him in a strange way. Maybe the demon fire is a terrifying living being which lives underground and that what we see here is just the tip of the iceberg, a kind of illusion, said someone else. Let's dig around first, said the cultivator of the top of the Zun Qi layer. Cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer made the decision, so everybody else had nothing to say. Everybody move back, said all the cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer. Everybody moved far away. Lin Feng was wondering digging around was a good thing. Would Qiong Qi's plan still work if they dug around? Everybody moved far away in the distance and Lin Feng asked Qiong Qi using telepathy, "What do you want me to do?" "Let's go," said Qiong Qi rising up in the air. Lin Feng followed him a bit farther away. "Let's start," said the cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer loudly. Immediately, someone released terrifying empty space energies as sharp as blades and attacked the area around the fire. "Break!" shouted another cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer. Lights flooded the area, a strong wind started blowing, fissures and cracks appeared all around the fire. At the same time, some other cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer attacked as well, pieces of the ground exploded all around. Over there, the crowd was staring at the scene. A small lotus with 9 petals was visible. It wasn't big, but above it, there was a gigantic lotus with 9 petals, of which the demon fire emerged. The small lotus with the 9 petals must be the real body of the plant. The demon fire was releasing terrifying black fire qi which dashed to the skies. The sky became darker and darker, but it was still possible to see the greed on those cultivators' faces. They're acting recklessly, thought Qiong Qi smiling coldly. "Piss off," shouted the cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer at the same time. Nobody had gotten the lotus yet, but they were already fighting. "I'm the one who released the water energies, do you think you can steal the demon fire from me?" said a cultivator. Immediately after, the crowd saw someone emerging from the water under the lotus, a huge hand appeared and moved towards the 9 netherworld's demon lotus. Someone was trying to steal it. "Ah!" a painful shout spread in the air. The cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer was immediately swallowed and killed by the fire, his ashes rested on the water. "We can't touch it," everyone just realized. "Let's go." The faces of the cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer turned deathly pale. They looked at the fire and moved back quickly, the fire was growing now. "Let's go," said Qiong Qi to Lin Feng using telepathy. Lin Feng was staring at the fire, but then he immediately moved towards, following orders. Threads of fire surrounded him and Lin Feng realized that that fire couldn't burn, but it was still very powerful. He did it. Lin Feng was surprised. Qiong Qi had probably made that fire because he wanted people to leave. "There's a madman," thought the crowd when they saw Lin Feng. He was surprisingly walking to the fire against all odds. Lin Feng and Qiong Qi both walked to the fire. The crowd in the distance looked at the black fire rising to the skies, they couldn't help but think it was a pity. That fire could have been useful, especially for those cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer. "Someone is trying to commit suicide," thought the crowd when they saw that some people were going into the fire. They were probably dead already. Qiong Qi slowly walked towards Lin Feng and said, "Release your spirit, I'll help you." Lin Feng looked at him angrily. Qiongqi always pretended that he did things to help. But Lin Feng listened to him and released his celestial book spirit. Qiongqi was incredulous. In the continent of the 9 clouds, very few people had such a spirit, and finally, Qiongqi had the opportunity to see what it looked like. Did you have your spirit at birth or did it awake later? Asked Qiongqi. At birth, said Lin Feng. He didn't come from that world, but when he had arrived, he already had that spirit. After that, it had become a celestial book spirit and had granted him the ability to see everything clearly. At the beginning, it was just a dark world which I could use to sense everything in my surroundings better. Then, it became a celestial book spirit, said Lin Feng. That's its type, said Qiongqi. It was a dark type spirit. No wonder Lin Feng could practice demon and cursing cultivation so well, he had a dark type spirit. Dark eyes, dark sword, dark fire lotus, dark world, whispered Qiongqi. Indeed, as he had started to turning the pages, he came across those same skills. Dark type. Qiongqi definitely knew something. Chapter 1292, Peeling off a page. Emperor, what's wrong with my special body and spirit? Asked Lin Feng. Qiongqi, just like the diviner, probably knew something about Lin Feng's special body, and his celestial book spirit also seemed particular. What's wrong? There's nothing wrong, you're very strong. Your special body and your spirit are closely interconnected, your spirit determines your special body actually, said Qiongqi like it was a fact. Lin Feng also knew that was common, he had noticed that a few times, for example, Xikong Zhao's spirit was the celestial vision, and his special body was characterized by his celestial eyes. Alright, we have some things to do right now, said Qiongqi even though Lin Feng still had questions. Lin Feng, you can't release that spirit in front of other people, otherwise they'll kill you. Also, don't show everyone everything you can do when you fight. If you use several types of abstruse energies, plus your sword skills and techniques, plus your demon and cursing skills and techniques, some stronger cultivators will be able to guess what kind of spirit you have, said Qiongqi looking at the sky. By the way, you've been hiding who you are and it's perfect that way. From now on, you and the Black Mage are 2 different people. Don't let anyone find out that you're the Black Mage. Of course, it's also difficult to completely hide who you are, so you can show a little, for example that you know several sorts of abstruse energies. Several sorts of abstruse energies, whispered Lin Feng. Qiongqi nodded and said, even though it's quite complicated, some geniuses can manage to learn up to 10 sorts of abstruse energies. Ba Huang province is too small and you haven't seen much of the world yet. For example, even though the celestial dragon body is a special body, it's an extremely bad one. Believe me, people who can become great emperors all have a special body, a very, very powerful one. Even if emperors have a special body, understanding several sorts of abstruse energies is still important, explained Yan Di. Lin Feng's mouth twitched. What you mean to say is that my special body is better than understanding 10 different types of abstruse energies and that I can't let people know about it? You come from a tiny country, Shuiyu, you should be an insignificant insect, but you have amazed the whole province of Ba Huang, but you're still too weak. You're slowly becoming stronger, but you still need to understand more things. We'll have to continue traveling around the continent, said Qiongqi. I think that if you find the 3 live scriptures, you should definitely study them, it would be a great decision, whispered Qiongqi. If Lin Feng found the 3 live scriptures, he would then have 3 bodies in one and he would be able to practice lots of different skills and techniques. He would also be able to hide, nobody would need to know that the 2 other people were Lin Feng. Qiongqi looked at Lin Feng's spirit and said, the 3rd page of your spirit is a black fire, but the fire from the 9 netherworlds demon lotus needs to be mine. Turn to the 4th page and use it for the 9 netherworlds demon lotus. Invoke the 4th page, said Lin Feng stupefied. You moron, have you never tried, said Qiongqi rolling his eyes. What an idiot, he didn't even know how to use his spirit properly. If you have a book spirit, you can invoke pages, otherwise, what would be the point, said Cheong-chi grinding his teeth. Lin Feng laughed, he had never tried. Lin Feng raised his head and looked at the dazzling book floating in the air. Appear, shouted Lin Feng. The fourth page from his book started shaking violently and a desolate world of darkness appeared. It worked. Lin Feng was staring at the celestial book spirit. Lin Feng began using his celestial book spirit to absorb the lights around him. His desolate, dark world wasn't dark anymore, it was suddenly filled with colors. The fourth page shook and finally, it tore away from book and appeared in the sky. Lin Feng could sense that the connection between the golden page and him was very strong. The connection between the soul and the body was made through the spirit. Just like the celestial eyes or the silver wings, his celestial book spirit could also be evoked. If you were my disciple, I would slap you, said Cheong-chi annoyed. Surprisingly, Lin Feng had never tried to invoke his spirit. Lin Feng smiled wryly. So now, you understand what you have to do, right? Cheong-chi raised his head and looked at the demon lotus and the black flames. The cultivators at the top of the Zun Chi layer from the Chi clan couldn't take it. Are you sure I can with just one page? Asked Lin Feng in a low voice. What is on that page? Asked Cheong-chi. Lin Feng nodded, the golden page became bigger. It didn't look like a golden page anymore, it looked like a desolate field with strange marks on the ground. He had copied those marks from the palace in Tiantai. Lin Feng only now realized that they had turned into marks in that desolate world. Rumbling sounds appeared as demonic energies rose up and blotted out the sky. The desolate world moved towards the 9 netherworlds demon lotus. As if the demon lotus sensed something, it started shaking and created an even more intense demon fire. Many people looked in that direction again. Bzzz, the 9 netherworlds demon lotus rose up in the air and Lin Feng shouted, take. Rumbling sounds appeared as the gigantic desolate world moved towards the 9 netherworlds demon lotus and enveloped it. Whistling sounds went far and wide. At that moment, many people looked at the lotus which was now moving into an empty space. They were astonished as they saw a desolate world seemingly enveloping the lotus. It looked like a vast field and a book at the same time. Bzzz. The desolate field enveloped the demon fire and then the field moved back into the darkness. Someone is using a precious treasure to steal the demon fire, thought the crowd. Surprisingly, someone had managed to steal the demon fire after they all ran away. The desolate area they saw had to be a treasure. Boom! Some silhouettes rose up in the air and moved back in that direction. Someone had taken it already, so that was even better. Now, they would just have to kill the one who had obtained it and they might get an imperial weapon with it. Chapter 1293, Yendi's Pride. Boom boom boom. The rumbling sounds didn't stop as Lin Feng's desolate area absorbed the 9 netherworlds demon lotus. Terrifying flames rose to the skies as it seemed like Lin Feng's desolate area was going to burn. That fire wasn't scorching hot though, it was ice cold, the kind of coldness that could burn. How do I keep it under control? Asked Lin Feng. His golden page was turning into a demonic field and he had taken the fire now, but his whole body was shaking. Give it to me. Lend me that page from your spirit, said Cheong-chi. Then he turned into a Taoist monk again. You dare you turn into a Taoist monk again? Asked Lin Feng. Wasn't Cheong-chi afraid of the repercussions? Why would I be afraid? I'm doing this to help you. If people attack me, they won't attack you and won't find out what your spirit is. Just lend me that page, said Yen Di arrogantly. Lin Feng nodded, he didn't have much else to say. The golden page which had turned into a demonic area moved towards Cheong-chi's hands. Then, Lin Feng recalled his celestial book spirit. Yen Di jumped back to the ground and marks appeared everywhere around him. Gigantic flames appeared from those marks and in a flash, many horrible shrieks sounded around them. I'm off. Don't release your spirit carelessly, said Yen Di rising up in the air. Qi continued rolling in waves, so nobody realized that Lin Feng was even there. Very quickly, the crowd saw a silhouette, a Taoist monk, who had a demonic field in his hands. It's him. That's that bastard, the monk, thought the members from the Qi clan. Kill him, shouted the people from the bestial imperial palace. Mo Peng released dazzling lights, he wanted to kill Yen Di as well. That bastard had cheated Emperor Peng, who had then turned into a demon because the Netherworld Demon Emperor. Then, he had been attacked by that nameless cultivator, and finally, back in the Ba Huang province, all the beast leaders had attacked Emperor Peng. You actually came back, the crowd said. Too many people had a reason to hate him. You're a bunch of useless trash. I'm here already, so come and die, said a loud voice. Qiong Qi's body slightly turned into an illusion, however, the terrifying demon fire was real. Kill him, shouted a voice furiously. Golden lights dashed to the skies and illuminated everything around them. A strong cultivator from the bestial imperial palace had attacked Yen Di. He didn't have the body of a great oriental greenfinch rock, but the blood of a supernatural bird was flowing in his veins. His body was golden and he was extremely fast. He had turned into a great rock and his claws looked like sharp swords. Do you want to die? Said Yen Di ferociously. He had used the body capture technique on Qiong Qi's body, so he still looked like a wild beast. Die, shouted Yen Di, he jumped ahead as well. Marks appeared and the sky shook. At the same time, Yen Di shook his hand and the terrifying demonic area moved towards the great rock. Caw! The rock cawed furiously, his golden claws seemed like they could cut through anything. However, the distorted space surrounded his body. The crowd saw the golden lights disappear and the great rock burn alive in that demon area. Slash! The strong cultivators from the bestial imperial palace were furious as they released their qi to rising to the skies. An infinite amount of dazzling golden energies emerged from their bodies. The Taoist monk, however, had the demeanor of a transcendent being. I'll tell you something, that's the 9 Netherworld's demon lotus used by the Netherworld Demon Emperor. I sacrificed 8 emperors to obtain that fire, and now I have it. If you want it, come and try, I'll kill you, said Yen Di aggressively. Lin Feng looked at him, dumbstruck. Qiong Qi wasn't scared. But soon he'd turn back into Qiong Qi, so he should be safe. Everybody, we need to kill that Taoist monk. Let's prove to our emperors that we are strong, and on top of that, let's steal that priceless 9 Netherworld's demon lotus is priceless. Let's all take out our imperial weapons, said a cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer from the Qi clan. After all the emperors had gone back to the Ba Huang province, the Qi clan had sent even stronger cultivators to Shuiyu. Empress Shi and the Netherworld Demon Emperor's small worlds had appeared, they couldn't give up any treasures inside. What? You want to benefit from other people's disputes, said a cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer from the Wen clan. The Qi clan and the Wen clan were still enemies, like fire and water, a bit like Tian Long Divine Castle and Tian Tai. Their emperors had even fought, so now they had nothing to be afraid of anymore. Our imperial weapon has been destroyed and everybody knows that, so what are you asking, said the cultivator from the Qi clan. Since you don't have any imperial weapons, you can piss off. You have nothing to do here, said the cultivator from the Wen clan. He was convinced that the Qi clan had brought other imperial weapons, after all, their clan had existed for so long. Right, if you don't have any more imperial weapons, just fuck off, said a cultivator from the bestial imperial palace. When we steal the 9 Netherworld's demon lotus, we'll start fighting. How could you stand a chance without imperial weapons, said the cultivator from the bestial imperial palace. Then, he spat out a feather which was extremely sharp. The bestial imperial palace had taken out their imperial weapon, and they wanted to kill Yen Di with it. Right, people who don't have imperial weapons can piss off. Otherwise, we'll just kill them, said a cultivator from the island of the Thunderbirds, while releasing blasting thunderous energies. All those influential imperial groups agreed on one thing: those who didn't have imperial weapons could piss off. They had nothing to do there since they weren't qualified to steal the 9 Netherworld's Demon Lotus. Chapter 1294, Killing Cultivators of the Top of the Zun Qi Layer and Stealing Their Imperial Weapons. Bastard, thought Lin Feng, looking at Yan Di. When he first met Yan Di, he could bully him as he wished, but since he had obtained the fire in Ahsoka, he had started changing and becoming even stronger. Now that Yan Di had broken through to the Zun Qi Layer, he was becoming even more terrifying. He didn't even need as much energy as before to cast deployment spells. After all, he used to be a great emperor, so even the emperors from Ba Huang were not stronger than him. I wouldn't be able to participate in such a terrifying battle. Those cultivators are at the top of the Zun Qi Layer and would kill me instantly, thought Lin Feng. He could kill ordinary cultivators of the 4th Zun Qi Layer easily. He could also kill cultivators of the 5th Zun Qi Layer, but it was more difficult. When his abstruse energies reached level 5, maybe then it'd be easier. Let's see how he uses the 9 Netherworld's Demon Lotus to fight those cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi Layer, thought Lin Feng. He didn't even need to watch the battle to know what was going on. After all, Yan Di was using a page of his spirit and it was connected to his soul. It was as if Lin Feng's spirit was a vehicle and Yan Di was the driver. The cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi Layer from the Qi clan were upset and glanced at the crowd. Then, they took out a picture scroll which contained a terrifying strength. The sky-absorbing picture scroll. The crowd was surprised to see it again. Wasn't it broken by Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword? How come it's here again? The Qi clan is sly and evil. You had another sky-absorbing picture scroll from the beginning. You even said that it was unfortunately broken a few minutes ago, but you wanted us to fight for you and then you wanted to take advantage of the situation and steal it from us, said the cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi Layer from the Wen clan. The crowd was astonished. Even if the Qi clan had stolen the 9 Netherworld's Demon Lotus using the sky-absorbing picture scroll, they knew that the others would have easily defeated them. Therefore, they had decided to wait. There has always been 2 of them anyways, only one was destroyed, said the cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi Layer from the Qi clan. He rose up in the air and threw himself at Yan Di. The Zun cultivators from the Wen clan groaned coldly and rose up in the air as well. They were determined to prevent the Qi clan from obtaining the 9 Netherworld's Demon Lotus. Bzzz, bzzz, people rose up in the sky one after the other. They all took out their imperial weapons and everything looked chaotic. 9 Netherworld's Demon Lotus, shouted the cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi Layer from the Qi clan while jumping forwards. He disappeared and reappeared 100 meters away from Yan Di. Capture, the sky-absorbing picture scroll became gigantic and began absorbing Yan Di's demon area. Go, said Yan Di smiling. The demon area moved towards the sky-absorbing picture scroll. Rumbling and explosions sounded. Lin Feng even closed his eyes. Boom boom, the 9 Netherworld's Demon Lotus and the demonic area were immediately absorbed by the sky-absorbing picture scroll. Explode, said Yan Di laughing mockingly. Immediately after, more explosions sounded and golden flames moved in all directions. The sky-absorbing picture scroll immediately exploded and turned into a rain of junk and black embers. How terrifying, thought the crowd. That 9 Netherworld's Demon Lotus was terrifying. Even imperial weapons couldn't block it. Many heads turned towards Yan Di. They first had to kill the Taoist monk to get it. No, shouted the cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi Layer from the Qi clan. Another one. Both sky-absorbing picture scrolls, both imperial weapons, had been destroyed. Bzzz, black demonic fire then moved towards him. The cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi Layer had no time to react before he immediately disappeared. And then, the demonic area suddenly moved down towards the members of the Qi clan. Bastard, shouted Yan Di furiously. Lin Feng had blocked him at a crucial moment. Yendi moved like the wind and cast marks in air before disappearing. A terrifying strength appeared where Yendi was a moment before, destructive empty space energies. Yendi rolled his eyes. Lin Feng had prevented him from doing what he wanted. He had made the demon area deviate its path to kill those other people. "Run away quickly," shouted the cultivators. No, they had no time. The demon area was too fast as it fell down from the sky and exploded again, leaving a large crater. The cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer from the Qi clan looked extremely pale. How many members of the Qi clan had just been killed? And they had lost the second sky-absorbing picture scroll. After that, the demon area rose up in the air again and moved towards Yendi. "Die!" shouted a rock. His speed was incredible and the feather he had in his beak was the sharpest weapon Emperor Peng had. It could lacerate several cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer at the same time. Eee! The feather streaked across the sky and moved towards Yendi. "It's his turn," thought Yendi, his eyes were twinkling. He jumped again and the space around him became distorted. Marks appeared again and the feather passed above his head. "Come here." Yendi caught the demonic area again. "Kill him," shouted Yendi at the rock. The others didn't understand what he was saying, but Lin Feng understood that Yendi was telling the 9 Netherworld's demon lotus to kill the golden rock. Caw, the bird cawed. He wanted to escape, but Xiong Qi wouldn't give him the chance. "You think you can escape from an emperor?" said Yendi, his eyes were dazzling. "Boil," shouted Yendi furiously. The great rock was petrified as he threw himself at the flames. It seemed like he had entered the flames, but actually, he had penetrated into a deployment spell. The Taoist monk was a master at using holy marks. It was extremely rare to control them that well. "Destroy," shouted Yendi. Lin Feng controlled the demonic area and made it envelop the great rock. A horrible shriek sounded. At the same time, Yendi ran towards him. He grabbed the golden feather, for that weapon wasn't bad. It was the great oriental greenfinch rock's sharpest feather and it belonged to Emperor Peng himself. The other cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer were frozen with fear. Just who was that Taoist monk? He understood and controlled holy marks so well and it seemed impossible to fight someone who had the 9 Netherworld's demon lotus. "Die!" shouted the cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer from the island of the Thunderbirds. Lin Feng's soul shook violently and his face turned deathly pale. He even spat out some blood. That page could contain the demon lotus, but it couldn't be used to block powerful attacks. "Enough! We've played long enough," shouted Yendi furiously. He recalled the demonic area back to his hand. "Everybody wait for me, we'll see each other again," said Yendi smiling arrogantly. Then, he ran away. Surprisingly, nobody chased him. In such a short time, the Qi clan's sky-absorbing picture scroll had been broken, some strong cultivators from the Qi clan had been killed, Emperor Peng's feather had been stolen, and the cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer from the bestial imperial palace was killed. "We'll see each other again." The crowd hoped they'd never see him again actually. Chapter 1295. Amazing dazzling treasures. Yendi had already disappeared, but there were still many strong cultivators standing in the sky. They looked crushed. They had noticed that the Taoist monk had the strength of the 5th Zun Qi layer, but each of his attacks were terrifying. Even though he had heavily relied on the 9 Netherworld's demon lotus, his fighting abilities were still amazing. If he reached the top of the Zun Qi layer, he'd become even more terrifying and would pose a threat to everyone, even emperors. "Arg!" A cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer from the Qi clan shouted with fury. His voice resonated all around the small world. He sounded like an animal. Last time, Qiyun had brought many strong cultivators to Shuiyu and, apart from Qi Tiansu, all the others had died tragically. Now, it was the second time that all the strong cultivators of the Qi clan had died and their second sky-absorbing picture scroll had been crushed. How would they explain that to Emperor Qi when going back? While everybody was fighting, Lin Feng had left. He was moving in the direction of the Black Wind Mountain where Yen Di would meet with him. He had left with a page of Lin Feng's spirit, and Yen Di probably wanted to modify the fire still. Lin Feng was even more furious because last time, Cheong Chi had taken the void fire and he never got to see him use it. But the 9 Netherworld's Demon Lotus was extremely powerful, and with Yen Di's current strength, he couldn't possibly use all of it to improve his strength. Even if he didn't use all of it, once he came back, he'd have to follow through with his promise and make everyone leave the small worlds. The cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer from the influential imperial groups of Ba Huang all had imperial weapons. If they didn't leave Shuiyu, Lin Feng wouldn't feel safe. He didn't care about ordinary Zun cultivators though, they would contribute to making Shuiyu a more powerful country. Yen Di had left with 1 page of Lin Feng's spirit and found a place where he could cast a protection spell and started modifying the 9 Netherworld's Demon Lotus. He didn't waste time. Lin Feng arrived in a dark and lofty palace. Even though it was dark outside, people didn't stop hunting for treasures. Both Empress Shi and the Netherworld Demon Emperor's small worlds were gigantic. There were palaces, deployment spells, and all sorts of treasures. Everybody had obtained treasures, they just didn't show them. At that moment, Lin Feng heard a clear, melodious, pure, deep, far-reaching Brahma voice. That voice was resonating in the air. Not just him, many people heard it clearly. Lin Feng gazed into the distance and saw some dazzling golden lights. The light of Buddha, thought Lin Feng, recognizing the lights. A gigantic golden body rose up in the air, it was a bodhisattva with his palms together. It seemed like he was getting close to enlightenment at that moment. In the gigantic hand of that golden Buddha, there was a group of Buddhist monks who were chanting mantras. Their voices were clear, melodious, pure, deep, far-reaching Brahma voices which were chanting louder and louder. Strong cultivators from the Celestial Thunder Temple, what are they doing? Thought the crowd. Their voices turned into sound waves and resonated in people's brains. Weak people could easily lose control and lose their mind. If that happened, then only those chants would resonate in their brains forever on and they wouldn't come back to their senses. Lin Feng looked at his own body, his armor, a holy weapon, had started shining when the sound waves reached him. Other people's treasures are reacting in the same way, it's not only mine, thought Lin Feng. What kind of mantra was that? Lin Feng stretched out his hand and took out his medium-level holy weapon, the halberd, and his high-level holy weapon, the sunset bow. The mantra continued flowing and his holy weapon started shining too. The bow was even shinier than the halberd. That mantra could make treasures shine, which meant that the treasures in the small world would shine too. As expected, Lin Feng wasn't the only one who figured that out, everyone around him did as well. However, after people put their precious items away, the lights didn't fade, they became even more dazzling. The mantra was so powerful that it illuminated both small worlds. At that moment, many people rose up in the air, including Lin Feng. They glanced around and inspected the surroundings. How terrifying! Lin Feng took a deep breath. So many holy weapons were shining in those small worlds which hadn't been taken away yet. Many people had found precious treasures, ordinary stones, special kinds of water, big carved words, but hunting treasures wasn't easy, especially if they were buried. Now, with those lights it would be a lot easier. There are so many hidden treasures. Everybody was getting excited. Several people had even started fighting. They didn't go and hunt for those treasures, they just continued chanting. Many cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer didn't move, just like Lin Feng. They weren't interested in ordinary holy weapons, what they wanted were high-level holy weapons and imperial weapons, so they were waiting to see which weapons would shine the most. There, thought Lin Feng gazing into the distance. There was a thin golden book, although it was small, it was shined even more so than high-level holy weapons, and it was becoming more dazzling as the mantras continued. An imperial weapon, thought Lin Feng. Finally, the most precious items were appearing. There are some more over there, thought Lin Feng glancing around. At that moment, Lin Feng gazed into the distance and saw an even more dazzling light. It alone could illuminate the entire sky. It had to be an incredible treasure. Chapter 1296, One-paged sacred book. What an incredible and powerful mantra, thought Lin Feng, looking back at the monks. Many strong cultivators' silhouettes flickered as they moved in all directions. Boom boom. Terrifying explosions sounded in people's heads. Many people's faces turned deathly pale, weaker cultivators even coughed up blood. The gigantic Buddha statue shook as it reached this degree of strength. That bastard screwed up, thought Lin Feng, groaning with pain too. He even coughed up blood. At such a crucial moment, he had left. With his strength, if he didn't use Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, he wouldn't be able to get anything, and the mantra was affecting him too. The strong cultivators from the Celestial Thunder Temple use similar techniques to the cultivators from Jiang'a. They also have group attacks, thought Lin Feng. The golden Buddha was dazzling as he shouted loudly and propelled many people away. Then he slapped a crowd and more people flew away. The weaker cultivators even died. Kacha! Lin Feng broke his talisman and hid in the dark. When he rose back up in the air, he was wearing white clothes and looked confident and at ease with his normal face and chi. Sword Chi whistled, and in a flash, a gigantic sword appeared in front of Lin Feng. Lin Feng pointed at the second light he had noticed and said to the strong cultivators from Jiang'a, "Go and take that one." "Roger, young master," said the strong cultivators in unison. They turned into a sword again and moved in the direction of the second light. Lin Feng's eyes were twinkling. All the strong cultivators were fighting for treasures, and the most dazzling imperial weapons were the most sought after. With their strength, getting that item couldn't be too difficult. Lin Feng started running towards the most dazzling light. There was already a huge battle there, and the gigantic Buddha was slapping people about. At that moment, the gigantic Buddha stretched out his hand towards the most dazzling light. That hand alone could accommodate a dozen people. There were no lights shining around in the small worlds anymore. The lights around the Buddha were the only ones. The Buddha smashed the ground with his gigantic hand and the ground exploded. A crater was created left in the aftermath. Lightning suddenly struck the Buddha's hand and made it stop for a few seconds. Then, the hand continued moving forwards. "Man Nyo!" shouted a Zune-level beast from the island of the Thunderbirds. In the distance, terrifying oxen appeared and trotted in their direction. A cultivator at the top of the Zune Chi layer from the Wen clan took a precious umbrella and opened it, expelling empty space energies into the sky. The strong cultivator from the Wen clan disappeared and reappeared in front of that dazzling light. Then he threw his umbrella at the light to take the treasure item. "Piss off!" shouted a cultivator in the sky from the Chi clan. He punched the air, making it shake and preventing the umbrella from moving forwards. "Die!" shouted the Zune cultivator of the Wen clan. His umbrella moved towards the cultivator at the top of the Zune Chi layer from the Chi clan. The umbrella contained deadly abstruse energies which turned into sharp lights. "That's mine!" shouted the cultivator at the top of the Zune Chi layer from the Chi clan furiously. It was as if nothing else existed around him. All he could see was that treasure item. Slow. A pair of eyes appeared in the air. The cultivator at the top of the Zune Chi layer from the Chi clan suddenly slowed down, now looking scared. "Si Kong too!" shouted the cultivator at the top of the Zune Chi layer from the Chi clan. Then the umbrella of the cultivator at the top of the Zune Chi layer from the Wen clan pierced through his body. He looked hopeless as he died. "Come here." Si Kong too shook his hand. The space became distorted as he used his celestial vision and stared at the treasure item. Bzzz. A silhouette arrived and the treasure suddenly disappeared. The crowd was astonished. Who had taken it? There, people saw a dazzling light in the distance. Someone from the Abyss of Sufferings. That had to be a member of the Abyss of Sufferings. They commonly had shadow spirits, so when it came to stealing things in the night, they were professionals. Om. Om, the clear, melodious, pure, deep, far-reaching Brahma voices continued chanting. The Buddha lights illuminated the small world again, and not far from them, a dark silhouette appeared under the crowd in the sky. He hadn't escaped, otherwise he would have drawn everyone's attention, but he hadn't thought the Buddha lights were so effective. That person quickly recognized the danger he was in, so their silhouette turned into a black beam of light as they tried to run away. However, everything changed as mist appeared around them. It looked like they were caught in an illusion, and they couldn't leave. An illusion, which meant strong cultivators from the magic world, heavenly palace, were attacking. Die! The gigantic Buddha hand attacked and nobody stopped it. The gigantic hand was moving towards the strong cultivators from the abyss of sufferings. Take it! He said, throwing several rings in the air. However, nobody paid attention to him and the gigantic hand assaulted his body. Kacha! He was crushed to pieces and a black ring appeared. That was his real ring. Everybody was paying attention to what was happening, however, inside the mist, women burst into laughter. The crowd quickly realized that there were suddenly women trying to seduce them. Lin Feng was outside of the illusion, calmly standing there, watching people fight for treasures. Many people understood that the first ones to get the treasures were also the most exposed ones, but then they also didn't want to let anyone else take treasures first, because if they waited and then people escaped with the treasures, then they would have no opportunity. Therefore, many people had decided to act immediately. Lin Feng was too weak anyways, he couldn't take any risks by attacking immediately. Even if he unsheathed Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, against so many strong cultivators, he had absolutely no chance to steal their treasures. When cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer shouted, they could kill him with their voice alone. Almost done there, thought Lin Feng, gazing into the distance. On the other side, the strong cultivators from Jiang'a had used their group attack and would soon take the treasure item over there. I want that one too though, thought Lin Feng. His eyes were twinkling with sharp lights. He released a thread of consciousness and inspected the ground. At the same time, some dead cultivators headed over to him. He could clearly see that the treasure item was a one-paged scripture. Maybe it was an imperial scripture, maybe even the 3 live scriptures. If it's the 3 live scriptures and if those people get it, they won't go back to Ba Huang, whispered Lin Feng. If someone obtained an imperial scripture, they wouldn't share it with anyone else. Chapter 1297, Stealing Scriptures. Lin Feng was staring at that illusion when golden lights shined again. Terrifying explosions sounded as the illusion broke. The strong cultivators who were fighting for the one-paged book appeared in Lin Feng's field of vision again. In such a short time, so many cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer died, thought Lin Feng, glancing at the crowd. He had seen some cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer of the Qi clan get killed, and now even more cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer from other groups had been killed. The strongest group was the group of people from the Celestial Thunder Temple. Their group attack was too powerful. Nobody could compete with them so far. In the distance, there were strong cultivators from the bestial imperial palace who looked furious. If the Taoist monk hadn't stolen their feather, with their strength, they would have been able to steal some treasures at least. Bzzz. A dazzling light moved towards Lin Feng. He frowned and saw a dazzling, golden silhouette standing in the air above him. It was Mo Peng, the great oriental greenfinch rock. He had noticed that Lin Feng was hiding in the darkness. Lin Feng raised his head and looked at him indifferently. What's up? The diviner said that the Taoist monk was your protector. Just who is he? Asked Mo Peng. Lin Feng frowned and he said, piss off. Mo Peng looked furious as he released cold and dazzling energies. Mo Peng, some strong cultivators from bestial imperial palace arrived next to Mo Peng and shook their heads. How audacious, said Mo Peng. He opened his wings and flapped them. His dazzling, golden lights quickly streaked across the sky. Mo Peng had turned around and left. Lin Feng looked at him calmly, before saying, if there's a next time, I'll have some roasted great oriental greenfinch rock for dinner. Mo Peng stopped in the air and glared at Lin Feng. He wanted to go back and fight Lin Feng already. Don't attack, Mo Peng. You'll have other opportunities later, said a strong cultivator from the bestial imperial palace. He sounded scared of Lin Feng. Many people thought Lin Feng was insane. He had even killed Qi Tiansheng, so it made sense that he would also kill Mo Peng if he got upset. Indeed, Mo Peng, when you're stronger, Emperor Peng will give you imperial weapons and you'll be able to fight him and Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, said another strong cultivator. Mo Peng wouldn't definitely kill Lin Feng someday. Lin Feng turned around and didn't look at him again. For Lin Feng, Mo Peng was just a bird who thought he was a dragon. Boom! At that moment, a green light appeared and shined on the black ring. Then, the ring surprisingly exploded. The treasures it contained flew in all directions, however, everybody could only see one thing, the one-paged golden booklet. Instantly, all the strong cultivators threw themselves at the booklet. It's falling down, thought the crowd. The strong cultivators from the bestial imperial palace could move even faster than the others. They were peeking down like an eagle towards a mouse. Don't take it. If you do, everyone will attack you and kill you, said someone. Without imperial weapons, it was impossible to get it. Now, thought Lin Feng. He jumped forwards and immediately, a sword streaked across the sky. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, Lin Feng, the crowd gasped. Lin Feng had taken out Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword at this final moment to steal the book. That bastard! A cultivator of the Tian Qi layer dared confront cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer. You're not afraid of dying, it seems, said a strong cultivator from Tian Long Divine Castle. Lin Feng was quite conceited. What made him think he had any chances to get that treasure? Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword was a terrifying imperial weapon, everybody was scared of it. Stop, thought Lin Feng. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword suddenly rotated and created a vortex. All the strong cultivators behind him were suddenly bathing in sword lights. The sky and the sword were one. Die, die! Shouted some strong cultivators. Everyone started attacking the hurricane. A hole appeared in the hurricane and some of the strong cultivators flew through it. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword moved back to Lin Feng's hands. The one-paged scripture was still falling down from the sky. Boom! On the ground, many people ran to catch it. A strong cultivator had jumped and caught it. You will die, said Lin Feng. That was someone from the bestial imperial palace. They wanted to escape from the sword lights, but they were too fast. Boom boom boom. A terrifying qi dashed to the skies. Lin Feng's silhouette flickered as he didn't dare stay there any longer, it was getting too dangerous. The book continued falling down from the sky and someone else stretched out their hand to catch the book. Kacha! A lightning struck that cultivator and he exploded, the one-paged book continued falling down. However, a pitch-black demon suddenly appeared. Black robe, long hair, demonic intent. He stretched out his hand and the book fell on it. The Netherworld Demon Emperor, the people in the sky, suddenly stopping. The Demon Emperor had appeared again, but why? He was wearing the same black robe, he had the same black hair, his demonic intent was rising to the skies. He looked absolutely terrifying. Is that a thread of consciousness left by the Demon Emperor? Thought the crowd. Piss off, shouted someone indifferently. Bzzz. At that moment, someone threw themselves at the Netherworld Demon Emperor. However, the Netherworld Demon Emperor looked at that person and they were suddenly petrified. The cultivator's body was suddenly surrounded by black energies and he was turning into a demonic slave. Ah! That person gave a horrible shriek and ran around like a madman. The crowd gulped down, their faces turned deathly pale. Was that really the Netherworld Demon Emperor? I don't believe you, die, shouted someone else furiously. Many others threw themselves at the Netherworld Demon Emperor. The Netherworld Demon Emperor raised his head and glanced at them. Instantly, demonic chi began corroding their souls. "Commit suicide," said a deep, demonic voice. Many people started convulsing violently. Those whose bodies were corroded by the demonic chi were killing themselves and slowly collapsing. "Commit suicide." The Netherworld Demon Emperor was still standing there. "You all want to die," said an ice-cold voice. "Escape," shouted people furiously. The crowd was terrified as they ran away in all directions. Once they left, the Netherworld Demon Emperor disappeared back into the darkness. The crowd hadn't noticed that there was someone who was hiding in the darkness and who was laughing now. It was Lin Feng. And those people who had just killed themselves were the dead bodies he was controlling. Now, the Netherworld Demon Emperor had the one-page scripture, so it had nothing to do with Lin Feng, right? You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.